What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Files podcast. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe, and today we are so excited to be joined for another Creators Corner episode by Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. If you don't know, our Creators Corner episodes are where we get to go off topic and talk about everything that we don't have time for in our big book discussions. We'll get to go behind the scenes a little bit and talk about creating content, maybe video games, cars, fantasy, or why Arby's is the best fast food chain with no equal. Before we get into it, if you guys enjoy this content, we appreciate it when you hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. And remember that every time you hit those buttons is another hour I allow Gabe to go outside and smell the fresh air. He may be on a leash, but I hear that sunlight is good for humans, so do the right thing. We also have a Discord and Twitter that will be linked down below in the description. And with that out of the way, let's head over to the Creators Corner. So first of all, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Seriously, like I've watched pretty much every single one of your videos on your channel, and just been watching probably for when did you start the Dresden Files?
Oh man, I'd say probably early 2020. I think.
Okay,
Mid
yeah,
2020.
yeah, it was probably around that time, and yeah, I've caught up with pretty much every single video. I really love your channel, so thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for asking. It's a pleasure. I'm excited to be asked to do something where I don't have to edit at the end of the night.
Yeah,
Right, I know.
Yep.
I know. Yeah, that's always nice. Whenever we get to go onto somebody else's podcast, Gabe and I are all excited, and I'm like, we don't have to edit this. We can just
Yeah.
talk, and we don't have to do anything.
Yep.
So let's talk about content creation a
Should
little
we?
bit.
Are we gonna do like what we've been reading, or is that not for these?
Oh, not usually in these, but we can. Do we want to talk about what we've been
I
reading?
mean, yeah, why not, dude? Just a
Okay.
quick little thing.
All right, what have you been reading, Mike?
I'm currently reading this here. This is on video. I forgot. So when I podcasted, it wasn't on video yet.
Right.
Ooh, Abaddon's Gate.
Book
Nice.
3 of
Is
the
that
Expanse.
is that 4?
3.
Oh, okay.
But I'll be reading 4 right after. I'm doing 3 and 4 in December. Long
Okay.
time coming for me getting back to that universe. I actually thought
Yeah.
that I was really enjoying the show, and so
Yeah.
I started reading the books, and I was like, I feel like it's spoiling all the twists of the show. So I started waiting for the show to finish, and then I'd resume. And now that it's done, sadly,
Yeah.
before they adapted all the books, now is a good time to get back into it, and I'm loving it. I'm having a great time.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about House of the Dragon, because I haven't read, what is it, Blood and Fire?
Fire and Blood, yeah.
Fire and Blood. And I was thinking when I finished the show, I was like, I could go read the book, and I was like, I want to keep up with the show and find out what happens that way. But yeah, Abaddon's Gate. So if that's the third one, how do you feel about it so far?
I like all the concept. Obviously, the proto molecule stuff's always awesome.
Yeah.
The Expanse.
Yeah.
I love the ring, the slow zone. Proto Miller is really, really awesome. But I think the only thing I'm not really liking is, and I appreciate that Daniel Abraham, Ty Frank, James S.A. Corey, I love the way that they're actually expanding their cast and stuff. But what I don't like with them putting it just in these new POV characters each book is a lot of the characters I really, really like Avasarala, like Bobby Draper, are non-existent but there'll be like a whole book without them, and I'm like, that sucks. I need Avasarala cussing everybody out
Yeah.
Right.
in the chapter. So that's rough. But again, it's one book out of 9. I feel like they're still establishing, the universe at this point, and then we're gonna have, all those characters that I want to see again.
Yeah, I feel like going from probably book 5 or 6 onward, Avasarala and Bobby are like staples. Like they're in like every single book from there. Yeah. But yeah, I think the problem I had with 3 and a few of the other books too, I feel like the later books get better about this, but I just wanted to stick around with the Rocinante crew.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted their story.
I
And
love those scenes, man.
Yeah. And then we're getting not Clarissa Mao, but whatever the other one is.
Julia?
I think Anna and Melba. She's still Clarissa's Melba in this one.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So yeah, when it would hop over to them or like Anna or whoever, I was like, I don't care about these characters. I just want to get back to Holden. But man, I think you're really gonna like book number 4. Book 4 is my favorite, and I obviously not gonna spoil anything, but it is.
Well, I have seen it on the show, so I feel like they are still pretty faithful to the show. You know, they combine some characters and things like that, but the plot seems to be pretty spot on. So I don't think I'll be in for too many surprises, but I did like that season that was based on that book. So.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Gabe, what are you reading?
Yeah, so I have been reading the Unwind series by Neil Shusterman.
Oh yeah.
And it is crazy. It's like one of the most like visceral dystopian books that I think I've ever read. I mean, it's like really, really nuts. I don't know if I could do it justice. Have you? Do you know what it's about, Mike? Have you ever heard of it?
That's the first I've heard of it.
Okay, yeah. So basically, I don't think it's in the future, but there's this big war, and it's pro-choice and pro-life, and so pro-abortion, not pro-abortion. These two sides like have this huge war, and then basically politics and all this, somebody writes up a bill saying instead of aborting your kid at the age of, up until they're 13, they're safe. From 13 to 18, you can have your kid chosen to be unwound, which is like cut up. Some guy gets his arm, some guy gets his eyes.
Wow.
It's crazy. Super crazy.
Super messed up.
And then so these kids like that are their parents like say, we're going to unwind you, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of band together and are fighting the system. It's really good though. I'm on like halfway through the last one, I think.
It's like Logan's Run on acid.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It really is crazy.
Man, there are some scenes. I've read the first 2 books, and there are some scenes in those books that literally I could not sleep that night.
They're like it was frightening.
It was like really messed up because I guess their whole idea behind this thing is that like the parents can't abort the kid until they're 13, and that gives them 13 years to like make a decision on this. And then when they hit 13, like their whole philosophy is, well, if every part of the kid is getting used and being transplanted into other people, then they're still a person. It's super like backwards philosophy.
Yeah, it's wild.
But it leads to some really, really interesting
I just added it to my Goodreads.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. You'll probably like it. It is a little bit YA, and I know that you're not like the biggest YA fan.
It doesn't, man. I like disagree with that.
Okay.
Here's my thing. People think, if it's for like, not rated R, I won't like it. No, what I don't like about YA is love triangles.
Yes.
Wish fulfillment, and the world's ending, but the biggest problem on my plate is choosing between this cute boy. That's
okay. So you're not gonna have any problems then.
Like Mistborn, Brandon Sanderson. I call it YA, but it was good.
Right.
I like good YA.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm reading. I don't want to say I'm almost at the end of it. I'm probably maybe 75% of the way through Warbreaker, because we just read The Lost Metal. Have you dug into that yet?
Era 2 wasn't really a hit for me. I'm going to read all Brandon Sanderson Cosmere books I read, so I'm going to read it.
Okay.
It was just like, it's one of those where I was like, I've got plans in December, and I forgot the book was coming out. It was like, I'll read it sometime next year. It just wasn't something I was going to be reading on release day like I usually do with a Sanderson book. It's not like I've said, Stormlight 5's coming out. No, not right now. No, that'll
yeah.
What'd you think about it? Because I've heard some mixed things.
So yeah, I could understand why there's some mix to it. I think Gabe and I both really liked it. The only part that was hard for us specifically is that about halfway through, there's like several chapters of like big Cosmere connections that we didn't understand because we haven't read any of the other Cosmere books.
Okay.
And so like for like 5 or 6 chapters, we were just like, I don't know what's going on. I guess we'll get there in the end. Yeah, that was really the only problem I had with it. Otherwise, I thought it was a fantastic book.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't think it beats out Era 1 at all.
I love Era 1. Like, my problem with Era 2 was just like, Wax is just like kind of a boring protagonist for me, and I just never really got interested in him. So I really like a lot of the other characters, but you know.
Yeah.
And I thought Wayne was really good in book 1, but then he just kind of got like kind of mopey. And I was like, man, I like
Yeah.
fun Wayne. I like
He
it's like
definitely,
when
yeah,
you're
he
it's like
definitely
when your
did get
drunk
mopey.
friend stops
Yeah.
drinking. It's like, no, I know
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
dopey. But it's like, can you start drinking again? You were a lot more fun.
That's awesome.
That's a joke. No one
No,
get it.
I know.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, so I think with all those like Cosmere connections, and there was a couple other like minor ones throughout that book. I had been putting off the Cosmere for a long time, and I was like, I'll get to it. I started Way of Kings, but then we got busy with some other podcast stuff, and I had to set it down. But I really liked it, what I had read. And so the Lost Metal was the thing that made me be like, okay, my priority for the first of the year is to start reading like all of the Cosmere and just read like everything. So after New Year's, Gabe and I are going to go book by book. Nice. and read all the stuff. So I started with Warbreaker. I picked up Warbreaker a little while ago, and you guys, it is fantastic.
I love it.
Dude,
That's one of my favorite standalone books ever.
Oh my God. Everybody was telling me that it was so good. And I kept like, I don't know. I know you're not supposed to do this, but I judge books by their covers all the time. And I kept looking at its cover, and I'm like, it just doesn't like interest me. Like, it doesn't make me like ask questions. It doesn't make me like, think in any certain way. I'm like, I'll push it off. And so finally starting it, it's literally one of those books where I'm like, I can't believe I've never read this. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, Vivenna's one of my favorite female protagonists ever. She's just
awesome. Yeah,
I love her.
Yeah, and Siri, like all of the characters, it's one of those rare books where I feel like every single POV I enjoy just as much as the previous one. I feel like every single character I'm enjoying in their own way, and there's never a moment where I'm like, oh, can we get back to this character? Can we get back to that character? Yeah. I feel like they're all really, really equal. The only thing that has me a little worried is, I swear, if that girl gets pregnant, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad. It's like your life is literally on the line for both of you. I'm like, can he not like, go on your back or something, like, there's no reason for this. Like, so
no comment.
Yeah. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. So
I know
it's a good book. It's a really good book.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're reading Before Stormlight, because it does have something that ties into the second Stormlight book a lot. That'll be so much, just an awesome moment for you when you get there.
Okay. Yeah, I looked up kind of a like how to read the Cosmere kind of guide, and I think I watched your video as well. And I think I'm going to go, I was going to start with Elantris, but I was like, I don't really feel like reading Elantris. So I think I'm going to go Warbreaker, Elantris, and then into, I think Stormlight would be the next step, right?
Stormlight's
before
awesome.
Arcanum. So let's talk about how you started Mike's book reviews, where the idea kind of came for that. Any struggles you faced along the way, especially in the beginning, any big joys and successes?
I mean, it was actually kind of an accident. I actually started podcasting, back in like 2010 or so. And it was sports, because I was writing about sports at the time. Most of my friends knew, and I'm still a big sports fan. And I don't know, no one I knew in real life read anything that I read, except like one person. And it was just like, nah, that isn't anything that I think that I would actually be like talking about. But then another friend of mine, we kind of had like spun off of that, because we always found ourselves, when we were writing for this one website, that we found ourselves always talking about, comic books and movies and TV shows and stuff like that, video games that we were doing. So we started a little spinoff thing that kind of became like the full-time thing. We called that Geek Media Core, because we're both Green Lantern fans. And we thought, hey, that's a really fun idea. And we just talk about anything, because it was like, well, you've probably noticed this. If you go into podcasting, you find a million that are doing the same thing that you are. If you want to do just a Star Wars podcast, or just a Marvel movies podcast, there's like a million of those. So we said, let's just leave it open and we can talk about anything.
Right.
So that's why we did that. And one thing that we always never really talked about was I was really much more into reading novels where he was more comics. And I was like, so I just did like this thing on the side. I was like, I'm just gonna, do this thing on the side, see how that works. And what I actually did was, it was not planned at all. Is I did like an introduction video of Mike's book reviews just to kind of set it up on the YouTube channel, like whatever, just in case I need it. And I started reading Wheel of Time, and I said, I know that this is a long series. I want to have like reference points to come back to. So I started recording like video diaries, sort of. It's something that like I could just go back to and reference on my own. Never meant to upload them. And after I got done with the third one, I said, what if my computer crashes or something? Why don't I just upload them? That way they'll be on YouTube. I can find them later. And I did that. And then I went back to them. Like, I was like, the hell? I never get 1,000 views on a video. What the hell is going on? And saw all the comments. I was like, what in the world? So it seemed like, okay, I didn't know BookTube was a thing. So then I started looking up all this stuff. I'm like, holy crap, there's like a whole giant like universe of people talking about books on YouTube. I had no idea. I thought all people did on here was Twitch gaming and movie trailer reactions. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, well, let me do a test. Let me talk about something that isn't Wheel of Time and see if it's Wheel of Time or if I'm pretty good at this. Okay. And I did First Law, and it got a lot of traction too. So I said, okay, so I just decided, why not? Why don't I just go all in? It was at the same time when that podcast was starting to kind of run out of life because my co-host was, buying a house, having a baby, getting married, all that stuff, getting a little more busy. I was like, let me just kind of focus on this for a while. And if we want to come back to that later, we can.
Yeah.
And just kind of the only silver lining for me when the pandemic hit was a lot of people were at home.
Yeah.
And that's when everything for me just kind of blew up from there. And I wouldn't say, hey, I've made it or something. I'm just saying that's when the channel really took off from, I had 2,000 subscribers. Whoa, I've got like 10. Oh, I've got 20. It's like just kept taking off a little bit more and more ever since then. So that's how it happened. It was a complete accident.
That's awesome.
Never planned for it to happen. So yeah, I mean, as anybody with a content creator would know that, you're going to have struggles. You got peaks and valleys. I still have times on the channel where I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing to get out there? Because I say I'm content with what I got. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm very goal oriented. I work in numbers and data analysis and stuff. So I want to try to keep finding ways to grow things. So you have those months where you're like, oh, God, why do I even do this? But then I'm like, I just did this for fun. This was something I do for fun. It's never anything I was going to do for a career. So don't take it so seriously. But it's a bummer when you feel like you really put your heart and soul to something and like 1% of your audience watches it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst. I put I did I think it's 40 minutes long. I did this spoiler-free review for the game Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
And I captured probably over 25 to 30 hours of gameplay and like edited it all into this thing. And then I, wrote this big long thing for this thing I wanted to say, recorded that, and then it took me probably like 3 weeks or more to like edit this whole thing together. I put so much time into it and then uploaded it and nobody watched it. It's still sitting at like maybe 50 views.
And I had that for a while. I had that. I used to do a little segment that I did as a spinoff. It's not there anymore. Where I called it Hail to the Geek, which was like a video version of the podcast where I would just myself would talk about like a movie trilogy or something I like. Like I still have one video from that on the channel, and it was 10 reasons why you should be watching The Expanse. And I spent so much time on that video, and for years it just sat there at like 30 views. So it's disheartening. And I try to tell people when they start this, they ask for advice and stuff. I'm like, just don't expect overnight success, man. I had a YouTube channel for 4 years and had less than 100 subscribers,
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to be patient. And like I said, I never expected books to be the thing that took off for me.
Yeah.
So there it is. Just be patient.
Was that the podcast that sat at that number for that long, or was it?
Well, no, we didn't do the video podcast until much later because we used to record it on Google Hangouts, and then Google Hangouts was like, "Hey, we're going away." Like, oh no, that was how we recorded everything because we didn't like doing Skype because the sound quality was terrible in Skype. They fixed it a lot now, but it was just awful. So we switched to YouTube Live because I could stream it on there, and then I could just capture the audio and upload it to iTunes. Oh, okay. So on iTunes, I think we had like about 500 downloads per episode, which we were like, that's a great success for us. Now I look back on that, I'm like, wow, what a tiny audience we had.
I
But you guys
know.
probably know the difference between YouTube and iTunes is you can have people that are very, very faithful listeners never say a word. Where YouTube, there's a good comment
Yeah.
system. iTunes doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to gauge how successful we were with that, really, as versus, when you can see your subscriber count, you can see people leaving comments, you can see
Right.
your views and stuff. So
Mhm.
I think that's something
And that,
iTunes should really work on, honestly.
right. Yeah. And Spotify too. I think that's I mean, I guess you can kind of see how many people are listening over on Spotify, but we started with a Spotify, or we started with Spotify and YouTube, and I had them going up on both. And then after a while, I was like, I'm just getting much more, I guess, feedback on YouTube, and so I canceled the Spotify and stayed on YouTube. But now that we're a little bit bigger, I think I'm taking a bit of a vacation in December. I think I'm just gonna upload, take a couple days and upload everything back up to Spotify. But yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I don't know how to gauge my success on Spotify, but I can clearly see on YouTube, the count going up or whatever. But yeah, anyway, I think, that's that one of the something you mentioned earlier. I feel like that's kind of the curse of the content creator on this side of YouTube Studio, is that you see all the analytics, and so
Mm.
you see when you have a good week, and when you have like this big flood of viewers and stuff, and it feels great. But then a couple weeks later, when everything kind of dips back down for
Yeah.
the holidays or whatever, and it's like you could have all the subscribers in the world, but because you're watching the numbers, that you feel like you're not doing as well, even though they're still fine. And that's kind of, we have a very, very small audience, but I definitely feel that way when we have like a flood of people one month and then not a whole lot the
Yeah.
next month. I'm like, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah, you gotta tell yourself peaks and valleys for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's always an up and down thing because like for right now, I mean, like I guess every year it's like March through September is like great for me for whatever
Yeah.
reason. The other
Yeah.
6 months are not. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
the holidays. I don't know if it's the content I've chosen. What's
Yeah.
going on every year around January? YouTube changes a bunch of stuff, and everyone
Mm.
complains that their stuff's not popping up in the algorithm anymore. So I
Okay.
mean, I don't really count that, but yeah, around the holidays and stuff, nothing. And it's easy to get discouraged with that stuff, man. But it's just
Yeah.
like just take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when when we started this, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot, as you said, like being goal oriented, I think is really important. Like you set goals and you want to see those goals reached. But like we started this just to talk. Like
Hmm.
that's it. Really, I still don't have a whole lot of expectations. I have goals, but I'm not like super disheartened when if something doesn't pan out because it's
Yeah.
just we're just talking about the books that we love.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Yeah, really, why I started is I was like, I want to be able to talk about
Yeah.
books with adults, because
Yep.
everyone I know, they're like reading like the new James Patterson
Yeah.
or
Yep.
Nora Roberts. I'm like, that's not exactly my speed.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you ever heard of Brandon Sanderson? You ever heard of reading Stephen King? I'm like, no. I'm like, all right, well. So that was really why I wanted to talk to other people about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. When we started it, we were working together at the same. I had a small construction company. We were working together, and we would listen to audiobooks during the day, and then at the end of the day, we'd talk for like an hour or so after work about what we read that day. And eventually, we were like, let's just record it. And then,
Yeah.
as of course, as we got busier and busier with our own lives, and then I moved to a different state and stuff, it became even more important to like have that time to
Yep.
Yeah.
kind of get together and talk and catch up and just kind of shoot the shit for a while. So yeah, it's sometimes it's really easy to get disheartened, but then at the end of the day, I kind of remember like this is purely like a hobby. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like this is just for fun for us, really.
Yeah, keep that attitude. It's like try to tell people if you don't treat it like it's a job, you don't depend on it for income or something. I think you'll have a good time doing
Yeah.
it. If you're
Yeah.
not having
Definitely.
fun, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Are you still doing the YouTube shorts? I don't think I've seen any in a while.
I try to, but I just never think about it, honestly. I think I
know.
probably should because I'm always like, I do a segment called Weekly Update each week. And
Right.
at the end of that, I'll talk about what's happening in TV and movies, things that aren't just books. And so, like, when there's like a new movie trailer or something, I'm like, you should put up a short about that. And I'm like, nah, I'll save it for the weekly update. I just never think about it, but I should. I should, because I've seen people grow their audience ridiculously fast because of shorts. You know, you get one that really hits and it starts popping up everywhere, and people are like, let me check out their channel. Hey, cool, subscribe.
Right.
You know, so I should. I never think about it. And I honestly, and this is the whole reason I still haven't accepted sponsorship, is I feel like I don't want to annoy my audience. I don't want to annoy my audience with, hey, here's a bunch of 1-minute videos and stuff like that, even though I know that a lot of people enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's weird for me.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like for me, every time I've put up a YouTube short, we've gotten like, 15, 20 subscribers at a time, which is good for us. And the views on that YouTube short go like way above any of our like podcast episodes. And so then every time I see that success, I'm like, oh, I got to do more of these. I got to make a bunch of these. And then when it comes time to do it, I'm like, I got to set up the green screen. I got to open up Zoom. I got to write like a little script and do all this stuff. And I'm just
another thing for me is it's hard for me to say anything in a minute. I ramble. They call it the gift of gab, and I'm like, is it though? You know, I can't say anything in a minute. Really, like I was doing real quick 1-minute reactions to Rings of Power and House of the Dragon episodes. I was like, but I can't say what I want to say in a minute.
I know, it's so tough. I wish they would open that up to like 2 minutes or whatever Twitter is, like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Because trying to fit everything in a minute is
and I'm never gonna dance or be goofy, so I'm not TikTok and me just aren't a match.
Yeah, for sure.
I have my moments where I'm like, okay, I feel like my mom right now when I go to TikTok and I'm like, wow, am I with this audience? So I don't think my audience is interested. They would be basically TikTok types. They wouldn't be interested in my kind of content, I don't think, because I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't do
TikTok is a different
effects and skits and stuff. No,
you didn't want to put on the yoga pants and do this to Frozen, or
I don't think it would get quite as many views as the people that make those videos.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what I've been thinking of is with the shorts is just kind of going through all of our episodes or reviews or whatever and finding like really good like 60-second segments and just kind of clipping those out and putting those into shorts.
I tried doing that too.
Did it work?
The problem is like constant watchers are like, it's annoying, you know.
It
does make sense. It really does, especially if you were one of those like with podcasting where you're 1.5 2-hour episodes and you just want to give people like a clip of, hey, here's something that's really popular right now. Hey, here's thoughts on the, the new Indiana Jones trailer or something. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Right. For sure. Yeah. I think probably some of the most success I saw with it was like right before I put out like one of those like 15-minute spoiler-free reviews, put out like a short that's like, hey, here's this book I'm going to be reviewing. This is like a teaser. This is kind of what it's about. Stick around for the full review. Those did pretty well.
I have a secondary channel which I've completely neglected, Mike's media reviews, because I just thought it was something that I could do where I could talk about movies, stuff that aren't book related, so I don't feel like I'm alienating my audience. And I should just do just shorts over there. I'm thinking maybe I should do just shorts and see if that takes off.
You never know.
Right now I haven't made a video in like 3 weeks over there now, so because like I'm the type like I don't half-ass anything. I'm a perfectionist by nature and I hate it. I hate it, but I was like, I'm not going to put up some crummy, unproduced looking video. I don't do a lot of stuff, but just be like, hey, here's 5 minutes of me talking without an intro and all that stuff. It's hard for me to accept that because I'm quality over quantity.
There you go.
Sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was going to ask you how the second channel is doing. I think that's kind of a cool idea to just kind of be like, hey, we're not going to have content over here all the time, but when I do,
it was one that I made it where I wouldn't be a slave to the algorithm over there. I'd be like, whatever I want to talk about, I can do it over there. But I never wanted to be the part where I was like, I wasn't putting out anything, but I did want to make sure I promised myself when I did it that Mike's book reviews is still going to be my main priority. And I never want to feel like I'm neglecting that. Because people have been there with me for 3 years now. I don't feel like I'm neglecting them because I want to talk about, hey, this one time I played Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo and it was awesome.
Yeah,
Make sure that I'm
yeah.
not neglecting them for stuff like that. But I want to have an outlet to talk about those kinds of things.
For sure, yeah.
Just got right when I started, things in real life got super busy. Scouts started back with my kids, school started back with my kids and stuff, and just real life happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Plus, you put out like 3 or 4 videos a week. I have no idea how you do it. I have no idea.
Here's the secret: is you record them all on the weekend.
Okay.
And you just release them slowly over the week, because the only ones that I do during the week, try to, unless I get really behind, I try to do just the weekly update one like the night before, because I talk about stuff that's recent. So that's really the only one. Everything else I try to do it over the weekend, and then I'll just slowly edit it and release them over the course of the week. That's the only way it's possible.
So do you so like on your weekend, like do you just do you pick like Saturday, I'm just gonna focus and get like 3 or 4 done, or you're like, I'll do 2 today, 2 on Sunday? And
with kids, they don't like to cooperate with any kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I usually will try to say, hey, I need to make sure I box out 3 or 4 hours this weekend just to talk about that. But I'm lucky in that I don't write notes. I don't have to do anything like that.
You just sit down.
What I'll do for videos, I will make like 5 or 6 bullet points of things and make sure I don't forget to mention I'm doing a review, and I'm able to just turn the camera on and go. That's
Wow.
I know that's lucky that I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
So it is just like, okay, I just got to make sure I box out like an hour or 2 hours to just record everything, and then I'll just edit it later.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's like if I say, hey, I want to remember to talk about like this 2 things that happen between these characters or something. That's it, because I will just ramble and then be like, oh God, I've been talking for 25 minutes. I need to wrap this up, and I won't remember to talk about it. So that was the whole reason I created. Like, you watch early in the channel, I didn't have any format at all, and I would just be all over the place. And that's why I created the format, what the book's about, what makes it good or bad, why you should read it, and then my final thoughts, just to keep myself structured in that way. But I still to this day, I try to be the type that does do a lot of cuts. Like when I first started watching BookTube, I was like, all these cuts. Why can't you people talk? And I know that not everyone can do that. I know that everyone can do that, and that's fine. But I was like, I don't want to make a cut. If I have a cut in my videos because either I rambled and the video is too long, my kids interrupted me, I sneezed, or some loud ass car drove by, which happens a lot. It happens a lot. So yeah, I'm pretty much like, I like to just turn the camera on and go. I just want to feel like a discussion, not anything that's like scripted. And I know that's not everybody's format, but that's that's how I'm going to differentiate myself.
That's extremely fortunate. I was even telling Gabe before you hopped on how like you'll like kind of talk and then you'll grab your mug and like sip your mug and keep going. I'm like, dude, that is so cool, because
when I first started the channel, people got mad about that. They
really?
Like, I don't know how are you gonna cut that out? And I'm like, I don't like to do cuts.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just a person. I'm here, dude.
You talk for 30 minutes straight, you need to drink something. Plus, I don't want my coffee to get cold.
Yep, that's right, man.
It just kind of became like a thing, and that's when like the branding of the coffee mugs and all that stuff just kind of played into it. And I was like, that's just gonna be my thing.
Yeah, no, for sure, it's awesome. And I was gonna ask, have you thought about doing any merch, like a Mike's Book Reviews mug or anything like that?
I do have a mug. I make it exclusive for patrons, so patrons feel special.
Nice.
I don't want it to open up to a store. I want the patrons to feel special.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that I feel like I already feel weird that people want to pay me to do this, so I want to make sure that I give them something nice, but then, continue to give them like exclusive access. Like we have a patrons only channel on the Discord where they can just talk specifically to other patrons, and we'll have like voice chats. We'll have like movie nights where we watch on the Discord together and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. That's
it's awesome, a lot of fun. Man. So I just want to make sure that I make them feel special. I thought about opening the merch store that is tied in with YouTube, but then they want you to put all your tax info and all that stuff. Guys, I don't want to do all that again. I've already done all my creation on Zazzle. I don't want to redo it on your site. So it's just me being lazy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I gotta get on to Patreon for some of my favorite content creators. When I know somebody is doing like a live video, like some of my favorite creators, I'll move some money over to my card that I use for YouTube, and I'll do like the super chats and stuff. But then I learned that YouTube takes like the creators are only getting like 25% of that or something.
38% goes to us. The rest goes to YouTube. That's why I tell people all the time, I used to say at the
God.
beginning of live streams, but then people felt like they didn't need to do anything. So
Yeah.
I stopped saying it.
Yeah.
Is I want to tell them, what would help me out a ton more is if you just give that to Patreon, because I actually get that money. YouTube, they take a ton of it. So I'll have a live stream. I'll talk for 3 hours on a live stream. At the end, I'll be like, wow, I got like $300 in super thanks. I'm like, wow, I got like $68.
It's so bad.
It's just
Dude.
fine. It's nice.
Well,
It's just like, man.
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
rough though.
That's so sad. It feels like I don't know.
They're much more generous with their ad revenue, but with super thanks and super chats, man, they're like, give it to me. That's why a lot of the gaming sites, they move their stuff over to Twitch because of that.
So Twitch I've heard is super solid with the
BookTube just isn't big on Twitch yet.
No.
Yeah,
hopefully it'll
cool
get there though,
was.
man.
Yeah.
I've had some people saying, hey, you should think about doing your stuff on Rumble too, because they think Rumble's going to take off eventually. And I was like, I don't know. Every time I go to Rumble, it's just like politics. I was like, I don't think that's my thing. But I actually had like one of the recruiters trying to get me over there. Like, yeah, well, we're trying to change that by getting more people like you over there.
Yeah,
I was considering it, but I don't know. YouTube's just, they're so weird about their terms of service. And one day they could just change. Oh, if you have anything on another thing, we'll just delete your channel. No questions asked. So I'm just scared of them, deplatforming me. So
for sure.
I haven't put myself anywhere else.
Yeah, Rumble, I feel like that's something that everybody really wants it to work. But you're right. Right now, it's all politics all the time.
I've never even heard of Rumble.
It's kind of like an alternative to like Twitter, basically.
Oh, okay.
Sort of with.
I mean, they want to compete with YouTube, but really all it is like, you know how like when on Twitter went ban happy and they started banning everybody, and so they all went over to, what was it called, Getter or something like that? I don't know. All those people went over there, and so that just became like another political social media outlet. Same thing. Everybody that YouTube is banned for
goes over there.
They just go over there, and so therefore it's just like super heightened politically, and it's
gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just like, well, I mean, if you're into that, cool. But
and some people are, man. Some people are crazy.
I just like to go on a video site and be like, hey, cool, a squirrel water skiing.
Right, yeah.
Those days.
I think it's interesting how Elon is planning on making Twitter, or at least part of Twitter, like a YouTube. He's like trying to compete with YouTube.
Yeah, there's such people speculating that he's going to buy Rumble.
Yeah.
And kind of make it like a package thing. So that's why a lot of people saying you should probably jump on it now and get your domain name and all that stuff. I'm like, wow.
Okay.
At this point, who knows? A guy might buy Walmart at this point. Who knows?
For real.
Right, I know. I know. It's so
next thing you know, he's running Amazon.
Yeah.
It's gonna have Starlink like deliver it.
Sick. Exactly. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, but I think that'd be cool if Twitter did some sort of like video hosting, because right now, as it is, if you make a post in Twitter and include a YouTube link, that post automatically gets kind of like deboosted because it's taking people away from Twitter when they click that link, and Twitter wants people to stay there.
Yeah, he does say he wants to get, into ad revenue sharing and stuff like that with creators. So who knows?
I forget what made me think about this from what you just said, but I was curious what it was like doing that that podcast with AR Witham. Were you nervous at all about that? Because he was like, he was going deep on some of those questions.
No, AR's a great guy. I mean, I feel like he's of all the people I've met, he's one of the most genuinely nice guys.
Yeah.
That I met. And he asked before, he's like, hey, I'm going to ask like some personal questions. Is that okay? And I mean, I gave him a couple things. I said, yeah, that's a no, but the rest of it, it's cool. Yeah. But he was like, hey, I gave your wife these questions. Do you want to know beforehand? I'm like, no. I'm always like, hey, I'm going to give you the most genuine answer, regardless if I have time to think about it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't really get nervous. I think obviously doing this, I've never had a problem with public speaking.
Sure.
I think that was because like when I was younger, I mean, from a youngest age, I did like choir and stuff. So you would sing in front of
You're always out there. Yeah.
Nothing makes you feel more naked in front of people than singing.
Yeah.
So I think that helps with not ever really getting camera shy or worried about anything like that. And I wasn't worried about some gotcha kind of thing on anything with AR, because he's a good dude. Now I wouldn't probably agree to go on one with someone who's probably known for just trying to get you in trouble or something.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't worried about that with him. No.
So he talked to your wife before. Is that how I
Yeah, he
understand
submitted some
that?
questions for her to ask me beforehand,
Okay.
and I didn't actually know what they were, but it was fun.
Okay.
Fun.
That's
That's cool.
cool. No, yeah, I thought that was super awesome because I feel like most YouTube creators are like, I'm not really going to talk about my personal life, and there's, some very, strict boundaries there. And I feel like Gabe and I are pretty open on the podcast about like our personal lives for the most part. But I was surprised because I think you had mentioned it in one of your weekly updates or something, and you had mentioned that he asked some really personal questions. I was like, "Ooh, how is this gonna be?" I
Just like
checked out.
things like about your childhood and growing up and things
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
But with me is I never mind talking about some of those things. Like I
yeah,
suffered from depression. I've got an autistic kid. And things like that I don't mind talking about because I feel like if someone else is like, oh my God, that happened to me too, and see that there is ways to, get past things like that.
Yeah.
I don't mind talking
Definitely.
about these things because
yeah,
if it
for
can help
sure.
one person, then hey, I did my
Exactly.
job.
And
Yeah,
that's the importance of it is anything you say can really go deep with somebody, even if it's not something you would think would be deep, you know?
Mm,
yeah,
mm, yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. I really enjoyed that interview though with him. I thought it was a great conversation you guys had.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's an awesome guy. Read his book. Read his book,
For sure.
everybody. Legend of
What's his
Blackjack. Read it.
Legend of Blackjack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Portal Fantasy. I think y'all like it.
Oh, that's Gabe's
Oh,
thing.
cool. Yeah, that's all me right
Yeah.
there.
Gabe loves the lit RPG and the
Yeah, and
the
he
cradle
reads
type
his own
books and
audiobook. So that's
Oh,
oh,
if you're into that
cool.
cool.
kind of
That's
thing. Yeah.
awesome, man.
Okay.
Super awesome.
That's something that see you don't like audiobooks, do you?
I can't. I
Yeah.
can't. I've tried. It's like it's weird. Is like people think that there's only one kind of ADD, and I'm like,
Hmm.
no.
No,
I
yeah,
don't get
Right.
there's
Yeah.
reading
not.
ADD at all, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
listening ADD, I can't even. I mean, I think that's why for the longest time I would only listen to like podcasts because you can zone out, and it's not like, oh no, I've missed the plot. I tried listening to some
Right.
audiobooks before, and it's like I have no idea what they just said in the last like 10 minutes because I was thinking about something else. And I
Yep.
think it's
Yeah.
just all those years of blocking out children. You can't really
Yeah.
turn that off.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
turn that off and
Yeah.
focus on what you're listening to. So I can listen to like a 1 hour seminar at my job and be fine.
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, if I'm listening to a book or something, I start thinking about, okay, I got to do this later. I got to make sure, hey, did I leave the stove on? Things like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
You're
crap.
like,
I
I
don't
just
know what
missed
they just
20
said.
minutes. Now I gotta go
Yeah.
back.
And then you do a book review and you're talking about the book, or people are like, what are you talking about? I did explain that. And I'm like, so audio is just not going
Yeah.
to be for me. Yeah.
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 But there are people who love it. I mean, that's all
Yeah.
they do is just audio. And I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Jealous. I'd love to like listen to a book while I do dishes and chores.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
So
That's
here's
yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for you. So you in reading books, do you ever have that same problem? Have you ever reading a page and something comes up and you're kind of reading and
Oh,
you're like,
sure.
wait, I gotta go back.
Oh, sure. Pretty much every Malazan book I ever read was like
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
Sometimes you're struggling so bad you just want to be somewhere. No, I do have those things where I'm like, oh, all right, I guess I got to go read that paragraph again. But
Yeah,
I feel like if I'm that distracted, I was like, I'm not going to read right now. But
for sure. Yeah, because it's like the opposite end of the spectrum for me. When I only listen to audiobooks, and it's because when I read, like I can't, I'll read a page and I'm go somewhere else for a second. I'm like, I gotta
yeah,
reread that, and I'll like reread the same 2 paragraphs 4 times. I just can't do
Mhm.
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have those days. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I do read physically as well sometimes, but it takes me a long time. It takes me a long time to read a book physically. I'm just like I'm slow at like physically reading, and like the comprehension is the same. I can get the same details that I do from physically reading that I do from listening. So I tend to do audiobooks because I work in construction, so all day I can just have
Nice.
my earbuds in and swing a hammer and listen to Warbreaker.
No, that's cool. No,
Yeah.
I wish I could. I tried. I had a free Audible credit, and so I got like that Dresden Files like a short story collection.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
And I listened to those first few short stories. I'm like, I don't think I could tell you exactly what happened on all of them.
Yeah.
Some
Oh.
things, but not all of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
that just can't consume media that way, I guess.
For sure.
See, that's the saddest example because James Marsters,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
know you've
Spike
been
is
told
awesome.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the best narrator. He's
And he was good.
also
He was good. I
yeah,
just couldn't pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah.
a me thing. Yeah.
By the way, with that Warbreaker book, speaking of audiobooks, for Warbreaker, I'm doing the graphic audio.
Heard
Oh yeah,
about it.
you
And
sent me a text about that.
did
Yeah.
I?
It's
Okay.
like a movie soundtrack or something.
Yes,
It's like
it
movie
is.
in your mind or whatever they say.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely incredible. They can be really hit or miss. Sometimes you have like some bad narrators, and like the sound effects can be like louder than the speaking voice, or the music can be louder than the speaking voice. And sometimes they can really throw you off. But I have a feeling that all of Brandon Sanderson's graphic audiobooks are going to be like 10 out of 10, because I literally could not imagine like experiencing this story any other way. It's like this particular graphic audiobook is so incredible.
Yeah, I've heard they're really expensive, and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess if they're putting that much work into it with like a full
That's
cast
true,
and
yeah.
soundtrack and all that, they got to get it back somewhere. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
good to know. That's really awesome, though.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you go to the website, some of those books, like if you were to get like Way of Kings in a graphic audiobook, it's like $400 after you buy all the parts. But if you go and not all of the graphic audiobooks are on Audible, but if you go on Audible, then each one is just a credit. So each one is like 10 or $11 or whatever a credit is.
I told people that before, because I will, when I get a lot of feedback on videos about how the audio narrator is amazing, I'll just go there and listen to the sample.
Yeah.
And I'll look, I'll be like, $48 for a 12-hour audiobook. People are like, oh no, we don't do it that way. We do it by credit. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the loophole. Yeah, the loophole with that is like you can get 3 credits for $40, or maybe even less, maybe like 36 or 37.
And 1 credit is $16 if you buy it like by themselves, right?
Don't they have like a subscription service too, where you can do
Yeah,
like
so like-
so you get 1 credit a month
for
like
for
just
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can buy the pack for like 30 something.
I already spent too much money on books. I couldn't spend.
Yeah.
Life would leave me. Yeah.
I know. I buy all the books on audiobook to like support the author, and then I just go to the used bookstore to find my pretty shelf books.
All right, I've got a topic here.
Yeah, go for it.
We're gonna change tunes just a little bit. Spencer
Yes,
told me that
please
you
do.
have a new Challenger or Charger.
2021 Dodge Challenger RT.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. Do you like
right
it?
around the time that gas prices went insane was right when I decided to buy a V8.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
$5.
So sorry about
that,
everyone.
Premium.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, no, I love it.
You like it? That's awesome, man. Yeah, I really like all those. My dream car is the Challenger Scat Pack, the 392. So
yeah.
that's a goal.
We had too much
someday.
traffic in Houston for me to do that one.
For sure. You can't
get
even
a
use
Hellcat.
it.
And I'm like, why didn't you pay for it?
That's right. Yeah.
It's like just too much traffic here. But I think with it's a good commuter car because it does have the, if you're going to be in stop and go traffic, but if you want to haul some ass, you can do that too.
For real. Yeah. I mean, they still have like 440 or 430
they can
horsepower,
still move. Trust
which is
me.
a lot, man. Yeah, it's a ton.
And they're going to stop making them. I think 2024 is the last year for the Dodge.
That's crazy, man.
Because they're going EV, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you seen the new EV Challenger?
No.
Oh, okay. When we're done here, you have to look this up. It's their new EV Challenger concept, and it literally it's electric vehicle, but they pump sound out of tubes in the back to make it. Yes, you have to look it up, and the sound is just ridiculous. It is the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen.
I hate that.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't either.
I understand that they want to try to force people to go this route, but it's just like,
no,
let that still be an option.
Yeah, they ruined the whole part.
Besides the Dodge Ram, this is your best-selling car.
Yeah,
They're really gonna stop making it. I have
exactly.
poor business decision. I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was so surprised. Seriously, you have to listen to the sound it makes. It is the weirdest thing. Doesn't sound like a V8. It sounds like an electric V8. I know that's hard to think of, but it's weird.
Oh,
anyways,
man.
they brought it to SEMA and all this stuff, and they drove it out and we're revving it up, and I'm just oh my god, dude. It's really bad.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
I did an off the books on that where I talked about the new Challenger, did like a tour of it and all that kind of stuff. And I got like a tremendous number of thumbs downs. I was like, what's going on? You mean
the new like electric one or just the gas Challenger?
No, the one that I got.
Okay.
I got like a ton of thumbs downs. I was like trying to figure out what it was, and it was just people mad because it was not an EV. And I was like, what? I never said EVs are bad.
Exactly.
It's like when you go buy a dog you go buy a dog from a breeder, people are like, why didn't you get a rescue? You know, it was the same with
That's
that.
the same thing. Exactly.
We're getting an environmentally unfriendly vehicle. I'm like, well,
Yeah. Well, and that's all it is. It's just that environment thing. Because I think there's a lot of muscle heads like V8 American Muscles, in my opinion, where it's at. Like I love old school muscle or modern muscle or whatever, but the times are changing, man. Everything's
our
changing.
DNA, man.
I
That's a
deliver
big
for
mean muscle car.
Amazon. I deliver for Amazon, all the time, every day, and frickin' they're getting EVs now. They're cycling all their or motor vehicles out, and
Wow.
so it's weird to see.
And I'm not against that.
No, me neither. I think it's great.
I like a muscle car that when I press the gas
and
down,
it sounds
like
good.
dollar bills are
Yes,
flying out of the rear pipe.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah. Maybe all the thumbs downs were the Ford guys. Ford or Chevy
I thought about
guys.
that
Or the
too.
Chevy
I think at one
guys.
point of it, I said I'm not a brand loyalist. I've had Mustangs, I've had
Yeah.
I've had Camaros, and I was like, but
Yeah.
Challenger's my favorite out of all those. Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily an American muscle guy. I like Japanese, like tuner auto kind of cars. And so I had like a Toyota MR2 that was like upgraded to the tits. It was amazing.
They go like,
yeah.
Yeah.
This thing, it sounded like kind of like a muscle car though. It had like these big, like huge double exhaust on the back, and you could hear that thing coming from blocks and blocks and blocks.
Yeah, I did
away.
the mid muffler delete on mine, which is took
Oh,
it out
nice.
car, made it obnoxious loud. And I remember the day that I drove home with it, my wife was like, I knew when you were here because the windows started rattling. I was like,
yeah,
that's awesome.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
She disagreed. I loved it. And I was like, my neighbor, like his daughter told me, like, yeah, I like your new car, but my dad isn't really a fan. I'm like, why? He's like, because it wakes him up at 5:30. I'm like, oh, so like your loud ass barking dog does it to me all night? Excellent news.
Nice.
Excellent news. Thank you.
Suburbs,
guys. The suburbs
Thank you
are wild.
for telling me that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Have you guys seen the new the Dodge Ram TRX, the Hellcat Ram that they made?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So the Ford came out with the Raptor R, which takes the Shelby GT500 motor and puts it in one of their Raptors. Have you guys seen that at all?
No, it's out of my price range.
It's well out of mine too, out of most people's, but it's cool. It's got this crazy exhaust, it's a butterfly valve like cut out, and so it's got 5 stages, and there's like quiet, kind of loud, and then like illegal.
Get your neighbors out of bed.
Illegal is the last one, is literally what it says, illegal. Apparently it's only off-road use, but I just thought that was cool. But yeah, 130 grand for that piece of machinery, dude. Yeah.
Wow. Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah, my biggest gripe was like, come on, Dodge, you're really gonna charge $50,000 for that car, and you're not gonna give us placemats? Come on. That's like iPhone charge you $1,200 for a phone, not giving you an adapter.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get the fucking thing anymore, dude. I know that frustrated me.
Did your dad sell his Mustang, Gabe?
He did, yeah. Mustang's
gone.
Really? Yeah. My dad had a nice. It was just a GT Mustang with the Boss 302 header intake system, a 2012.
Oh, okay.
It was a 2012 Brembo edition.
I had a 2012 Mustang when my first kid was born, and I was convinced I was going to keep it.
A
year later,
he was too, exactly. And then because we enjoyed the crap out of it, and then he's just like, I gotta get something that gets better gas mileage.
Oh,
because he was getting like 20. Like if he drove it like a grandma, he could get 22 or whatever per gallon. But then of course, like that's not very fun. And when he's having fun on the freeway, it's like 17 per gallon.
Yeah.
But he switched. He got an all-wheel drive Subaru that was, four cylinder and stuff. But I was disappointed because I wanted it. I was like, let me take over the payments, man. I will take that car from you, and it just didn't work out. So
bummer.
Yeah, that's okay though. I got a great car right now. Little 4-banger, gets 40 miles per gallon. I'm happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. That's definitely nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was getting 17 in my 06 Mustang.
Yeah.
A while back. I don't think I really ever got more than that, honestly.
Yeah, they're not conducive to gas prices, but they sure are a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got to ride in that thing one time, your dad's Mustang.
I did take you for a ride.
That was an experience, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, with the Boss 302 stuff, but I mean it was like 480, I think, to the crank, so probably like 420 to the wheels, but it was a lot of fun, man. We had a lot of fun in that thing.
Did you ever drift it?
No, I was too scared.
Yeah.
I would do it like in a parking lot. Like I'd open parking lot and I'd do a little,
I get
Yeah.
asked that now.
Donuts or
"Did you ever
whatever.
race it?" I'm like, no, I'm 40.
No.
I got that out of my system when I
No,
was
like
much,
yeah,
much younger.
it was my dad's car. I'm like, I might burn some rubber, but only
Yeah.
if there's nothing within 500 feet of me all around,
Yeah.
you know?
Do you ever drift yours though, Mike? Do you ever like in a parking lot or
No,
anything?
yeah.
Oh.
The tires are too expensive. I
Well,
don't.
and there's dude, they're straight line cars, man. You're meant to
That's
punch
true.
it, merging on the freeway, and
Yeah, it's like
that's where the
on the
fun's at.
tollway, I'll hit like 110, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
about the most I'll do. Yeah.
Yep.
And by
Yeah.
the way, when that sucker hits 110, purrs like a kitten. It's just completely
Oh,
smooth. There's
I
like
bet.
no
I
jump.
believe that.
Car
No,
doesn't start shaking or
so
nothing. It's
yeah.
great.
you have the automatic?
Yeah, I did get an automatic because of kids.
Yeah. No, no,
Okay.
I get it. But isn't it
You
like
need that
is it
free
a
hand to reach back and smack them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a 7-speed or like a 10-speed or do you know?
7. Yeah.
7, okay. And you got paddle shifters and stuff?
Yeah, but I don't use them.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
really?
automatic. Okay, that's
I mean,
cool.
I'll be honest. I spend a lot
They're
of time.
faster anyways, dude.
Commute, you know,
Like
yeah.
they accelerate better anyways.
I have
He
no
spends
problems
a
with
lot
the
of time
speeding.
smacking his kids, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have time for it.
That's right.
No, I do miss a standard once in a while. But
Yeah.
I was like, I had that with that Mustang I had when I first had
Yeah.
kids. Like, I can't. You need that extra hand almost all the time.
For
So.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, standard's
That's
fun.
fair.
Mine's a manual, the one that I have right now, and I love it.
Plus, like I
But-
said, when you spend a lot of time commuting, it's like stop, go
Yeah.
back and
Yeah,
first,
that's a
pump it
pain.
out of the clutch. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
I don't mind going back to an automatic. Yeah.
For sure.
Plus,
Yeah.
these haul ass, so I'm not
Exactly.
worried about it
They're
at all.
quick, man, and the shifts are like instant. It's crazy.
Yeah. I've only had like, your basic work trucks for the past few years, and my Dodge Dakota was a stick because I've always driven a stick, and I was like, I have to, like, my truck has to be a stick because that's what I drive.
Right.
And it was hell. It was absolutely hell
Yeah.
going from job site to job
Yeah,
site,
it's like the worst thing.
shifting. It's like, I'm not racing. Why do I need a stick shift for my truck?
Sure.
So when I got my Silverado, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get automatic. Because I just can't. Do they have a lot of open roads over there in Texas, Mike, for you to?
Do you live like in like the city, or are you a little like kind of suburban?
Just outside. I mean,
Just outside, yeah.
Cypress is just outside of Houston. I work in the
Gotcha.
Woodlands, which is the opposite way of Houston. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you can find our speed limit here is like 80. You
Yeah.
know,
Is it
so I
really
mean,
on the freeway? That's awesome,
Nice.
man.
That's
yeah.
cool.
So I mean, you can move if you want to.
For
And, I mean,
sure. That's cool.
the tollway that I use here is called Highway 99, and people say that's not a number, that's the speed limit.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
That's awesome. Let's talk about House of the Dragon
All
a
right.
little bit, and we
Great.
can't do spoilers.
I have
really,
never
'cause
You
seen
mean
it.
that show that I told everyone was going to be great, and they were like,
Yes.
"Oh no, Game of Thrones season 8, boo-hoo!" Yeah, and I was like, "It has nothing to do with Game of Thrones season 8. This is going to be awesome." I told people this has a chance to be even better
Yeah.
because the source material is done. It
Yeah.
ain't no big deal. And I was like, and the showrunner is going to he's the perfect guy for this, and no one wanted to listen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was so absolutely phenomenal. And by the way, please never stop doing your like after each episode doing
Yeah, I
that
love
like
those.
group to get together, because that was so nice to be able to watch every episode, then go to your channel and hear people discussing it and just like have that really well-rounded
Yeah,
discussion.
I'm missing it. I mean, the fact that we don't get a season 2 until like 2024 really sucks.
Oh, yikes,
Dude,
dude.
I would say it's like so great to have like that water cooler show back,
Yeah.
especially in binge culture. We're so used
Yeah.
to binging everything now. So it was like once Game of Thrones ended, it was like I don't feel like we had that anymore. Like people try to do it with the Mandalorian, but I was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't the same as it was when we were talking about Game of Thrones. You talk about your theories and all that stuff. It was a
Yeah.
lot more fun.
Yeah.
So it was fun to have that back, and that's why I talked to those are two people I consider like real life friends at this point.
Right.
And so we were like, we're going to talk about this anyway, so we might as well just do a show for it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was awesome. Have you how do you know that they're not doing it till 2024? Have they
I
said
mean, that's
that?
a speculation because they
Okay.
because they didn't know that they had a season 2 or not, so they couldn't
Mm.
just start when they finished recording season 1. They couldn't just start doing season 2.
Start,
like they
yeah.
did with Game of Thrones. So
Oh,
I
would've
think
thought it
after
would've been
this they'll get
greenlit
back
immediately.
to every year, having a
Okay.
new season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, some of those shows, man, I've never seen House of the Dragon. I'm sure it's nuts, but like
you're gonna love it. You're
I
gonna
know
love
I
it.
am, but I was like reading something about Euphoria, the show that we watched, and
Uh-huh.
every single one episode took them like a month and a half to create.
What?
Yes,
Wow.
just to create, not even to edit, just to act out and get it done.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'm like that. No wonder why we don't, no wonder why it takes 2 years for them to get everything settled down. Like it's a lot of production goes into
now
stuff.
that House of Dragon got crazy, insane numbers for them, they'll pretty much give them a blank check and be like, do it as
go
fast
for
as
gold.
do the whole season, do the whole season. So I think after this we'll get back to every single year we get a new season.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how House of the Dragon just stole like this fall's television. Like
I'm just crazy. I just haven't, dude. I'm like disappointed now talking to you guys that I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm jealous you get to binge it because it is highly bingeable.
That's true.
You will, dude.
That's
you will.
Dangerous for me though, man.
Yeah,
dangerous territory.
It's one of those shows like when we were watching Mr. Robot.
Oh yeah.
And it was like after every single episode, you just want to see the next one. That's exactly how this felt.
Oh, it's got Matt Smith. That's the guy in
Doctor
Who.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, and also the vampire movie.
The vampire.
Well, we don't talk about that.
What's the vampire movie?
The one, the
Morbius.
one that just Morpheus. Yeah.
Oh, Morbius. Okay. Yeah.
Morbius. I just watched that.
I didn't
by
even
the
know.
way.
I haven't seen it. I've so many people make jokes about it.
Don't.
Not even for the laugh.
Don't. I agree. I watched it with Leah, and I was so thoroughly disappointed by the whole thing.
And then maybe embarrassed for Matt Smith. So
Oh no!
I was like, after The Crown, I was like, this guy's after Doctor Who and The Crown, this guy's career was on the upward trajectory.
Yeah.
Oh no, Matt. So luckily he was already signed on to do House of the Dragon. So that worked out for him. Yeah,
wow.
He's great on that.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it was pretty wild because the episodes just keep ramping up and ramping up and ramping up to the finale. And that finale, I really think that it's been years since I've started an episode, laid back in my chair, just kind of watching it. And then the last like 20 minutes of it, I'm literally on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God. Like, dude.
I think what's special about House of Dragon for the book fans is, unlike the main novels, it's not in a narrative format. It's just history. This happened, and there are multiple point of views. Well, this person says it happened this way, this person says it happened that way. So that gives them the leeway on the show to say, okay, look, we know what the end point was, but it's up for us to get there. That way people like me don't get to nitpick and say, that's not what actually happened, because we don't know how it got there. And that makes it so much more enjoyable, because even as a book reader, I can still be surprised. Like, for example, there's this big shocking moment in one of the episodes where there's a big fire and important characters die. And we always knew those characters did die that way, but we didn't know how. And when it's revealed how it happens on the show, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it completely blew my mind. So yeah, it's really, really great for that reason. That's why I think you could read Fire and Blood and be safe.
You think so?
Run the show for you. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I was a little worried about that. Yeah, I think, over the past year and a half, couple years, we've really seen, how difficult it is to make an adaptation, or at least that like Amazon can't do it correctly. And I think that some of these video game movies and TV shows, I think they're going to do really well because like they're making a Fallout show. And have you ever played Fallout, Mike?
Oh yeah,
the Fallout games.
Fallout 3 and 4.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so with the Fallout show coming out, they're not adapting any of the story that's already been done. This is in a completely different part of the United States. Yeah, it's a completely new story. And I think that kind of stuff is really good for adaptations, because then you don't have people saying, well, I'm really attached to this scene. Like I really wanted to see this scene in live action. It's a new story set in the same world. And a lot of people, back in the day were giving the Assassin's Creed movie, they were giving that a ton of shit. And I get it. Like I get why people were kind of upset. But at the same time, Assassin's Creed, it lends itself so well to that, because every single game, the animus is a little bit different. There's always something that's a little bit different about it. So when the movie did a whole new story and the animus was different, it didn't ruin the lore of the world, because they're different every game. And so stuff like that, I think video game TV shows and movies can do really, really well.
Yeah, I prefer that over instead of, oh, well, we're gonna do, like, for example, they want to make this Gears of War movie, and
Oh God.
they're already kind of saying, well, we're not exactly gonna follow the games though. I'm like, well, then why are you using that cast? Why do you want to
Yeah.
use Marcus Phoenix? Use a different crew. You know,
Yeah.
that you can keep the same storyline of Emergence Day and all that stuff and have it be some other gear somewhere
Right.
else. You know, if you don't want to follow that story, don't use those characters.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I
Easy fix.
will never understand that. Like the same thing happened with the Halo TV show.
Oh my god.
And yeah, that was
Mike's like,
awful.
no.
My kid was excited in like literally the first episode. He checked out about
Yeah.
25 minutes in.
Oh, yikes, man. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell him, man, that was probably the best episode.
You're right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It's just, I don't know. It's not hard. And no one says it
Yeah.
has to be a shot by shot remake. Of
Yeah.
the game.
Sure.
It's like, but at least make it feel like the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like you know, you get these guys I forget what the most recent example is, but you know, even with Wheel of Time, they're like, you know, we want to tell our version of Wheel of Time, or we want to tell our version of Lord of the Rings. And it's like, then why not just like make another
Create
fantasy
something new.
series?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, why try to adapt this story that's already been told perfectly?
So basically, they want to take advantage of
the
the
audience.
name and brand recognition.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to do the work on that, but they don't want to actually tell the story that audiences want to see. And that's why
Right.
you're seeing so many huge flops now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they think they're better, right? Like you hear this, oh, it's a story that
Yeah.
Tolkien can never tell. Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
That's
Yeah.
fucking wild.
What
dude.
balls to say
I
something like that?
know. I know. This is the story that Tolkien would have written if he was more like socially conscious or whatever.
This
It's
is
like,
what Robert Jordan would have written today. Oh.
yeah, like, oh, you think so, huh? Like, fuck you. I'm getting all heated up now. You got me going.
And that's why you learn to appreciate something like House of
Yeah.
Dragon, which is incredibly faithful. It's awesome.
Yes.
It's awesome when it happens.
Yeah, and you know, I even having not read the source material, and same with The Witcher, I haven't read much of the source material of Witcher, but both of those shows at their core were good shows. Like I like both of them, and I know The Witcher is kind of debatable. Some people like it, some people
No, I
don't.
like The Witcher as a show.
but-
And I wasn't married to the book, so I was okay to get along with. What I didn't get along with is the fact that they knew that Henry Cavill only signed that show because he's a huge fan of the story.
Yeah.
And he wanted them to do a faithful adaptation, but they
Yeah.
just refused because they wanted to write their own stuff into it to the point to where they chased him off. You chased off an A-list actor who was doing that just because he wanted to be part of it. And then it's like, I can't be part of an unfaithful adaptation of the story I love. What huge egos to do something like that. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is one of like the saddest things when I realized that he had quit The Witcher. I was like, what? Like that is like a tragedy. Like you have this guy who in the most wholesome way legitimately loves the source material and wants to make a good show. He's like the one thing that is keeping you tied to the source material and keeping the producers honest, basically. And they wanted to tell their own story so badly that they're willing to can Henry Cavill.
It's crazy.
And he's perfect for the role.
Yeah, and then when they get canceled after season 4, they'll blame the fans.
Oh,
Yep.
dude,
Oh yeah. Everybody but themselves.
Yeah.
Not my
Oh,
fault.
my
Good
God.
times. Yeah.
It's like legitimately sad. It's dude, it sucks.
I need to run to the little boys.
I do
Yeah,
too,
let's
man.
do that.
I'm with you. Let's take a break. Let's do it.
2 hours later.
Hey, quick question for you, Mike. Is that the Here's Johnny the Shining on your door?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
Dark Tower keyhole on the other
Yes.
side.
Okay.
Other side.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could like barely see it, and I was like, that looks just like that scene.
Yeah. He's got red rum. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's so great. I love Like, of course they would sell those stickers. Like that's such a good.
My wife found that on Etsy, I think.
Nice. Etsy's
Okay,
dude, Etsy's where
nice.
it's at. My girlfriend does a lot of shopping on Etsy and finds all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
can get around copyright infringement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, same with Redbubble. Like my whole Christmas list, that I sent to my family was like all this stuff from Redbubble, like a big Dresden Files blanket that says stay calm and consult Bob. And it's got the skull on
awesome.
it. And
Nice.
like it's awesome. But I wish there was more like I wish there was more like legitimate merchandise from some of these big series. Like I feel like they would make a lot of money.
Well,
Like
I think it's hard for them to do that from what I understand.
Yeah, because
Really?
publishers are going to
Yeah,
want their cut and all
exactly.
that
They
kind
just
of
have so
stuff.
many channels they have to go through to get it done. Whereas like
Yeah.
shit on Etsy, like somebody can make it home and sell it, and it's
Like
like
I found
Right.
this girl named Creatively Crafts. Her name's Lee, and she
Yeah.
comes creatively.
Okay.
And she makes nothing but fantasy themed coffee mugs, and that's where a lot of the coffee
cool.
mugs I got from.
Yeah,
her
that's
are.
awesome.
Okay.
She does
You get those
great
like
work.
those independent people that like that's what they do. They sit down and they can make anything they want and sell it without having to worry about like
Yeah.
getting attacked by lawyers or whatever.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because I have like a bunch of like framed posters and stuff that are like video games, but I'm like, dude, I would love like a big like book cover of like the Name of the Wind or something.
Yeah.
And put that up on my wall. And yeah, I found a few things on Redbubble, but still it's not like, it's not like the stuff that you would expect.
Sure.
I've actually never heard of Redbubble, so that's going on my list
Yeah,
here.
for sure. It's pretty much like Etsy,
Okay.
but I've had trouble ordering from Etsy.
Yeah.
Things that I've ordered have taken like 2 or 3 months to get to me
Oh yeah.
sometimes. And so I was like,
It's like wish.com, dude.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Wish is like the crackhead step cousin of
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, it is. It totally is.
Well, like speaking of Dresden Files and stuff, I'm curious what you thought. Have you watched the Dresden Files show, Mike?
When I first found the book series, started reading it, people were like, "Hey, I should check it out." And I watched the first episode. That was enough for me.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
It's one of those things where I think if you haven't read it, it's probably pretty fun. Pretty fun.
But if you read it, it's like, oh,
you read it's probably good stuff you probably won't be able to get past.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
That's
then
what
that stuff
that's
like
what
I'm
I've
like
been
a
afraid
lot of
of.
stuff. I'm like I did a lot of things with adaptation like this where they're just like, okay, that's too hokey, we're gonna cut it out. I'm surprised they had Bob on it. I didn't think they didn't have Bob in it, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I am so hypocritical when it comes to the Dresden Files show, because when the Wheel of Time show came out,
oh yeah,
dude, by the end of episode 1, I was flipping tables.
Oh my god.
And I was like,
dude, we got so much negative feedback because
I know
we were trying to be positive because my channel, I do try to stay positive.
Yeah.
And so me and Madison, who was my co-host on As the Wheel Turns, we thought this is going to be pure dog shit, like unwatchable, like CW levels of unwatchable. Yeah. And when it came, I was like, we're like, hey, it's not the greatest, but I expected way worse. So we just kept trying to find the positive. And then episode 4, we were like, you know what? It's not really following the book that well, but it's pretty entertaining as a show. And then every episode after that got worse to the fact where like by episode 8, we're like, all right, I can't do this anymore. This is awful. This is awful.
I've never watched it because I remember Spencer, like when it first came out and Spencer started watching it, he sent this message to Chris, is another co-host of ours that's on every once in a while, and we have a group chat, and he sent this long message about how they fucked up about the Wheel of Time. And how
I just think it's a lot of things on it. Like if you really thought that you could make this series and cut that out, like
I know that's exactly what he said.
He's all this stuff right now about gender and binary, non-binary.
Yeah.
That's not the series you're going to adapt if you want to do that, because it's very gender specific about one side of the one power is for male and one half of the one power is for female. And you're going to try to take that out of the show.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You just broke the entire universe.
Yeah, dude.
So, yeah. That's not a political statement or anything. I'm saying that's not the series you adapt.
Exactly.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think the tough thing for me is like with shows like that, and I'm worried about the Mistborn adaptation that's coming out soon. Um, it's like as fans, we have probably one chance in our lifetime for like a show to be adapted from one of these series, right? And if they fuck up the first adaptation, like chances are we're not going to see another
it goes back on
adaptation in
ice
our
for
lifetime.
a long time.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of sad to think like, man, that's the one shot we got. That's the one thing we're ever going to see. And that's why
I
I'm
had been
so
waiting
worried.
to see an adaptation of Dark Tower since the 1990s, and the one that we
Yeah.
got was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
might never see another opportunity.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Although isn't Mike Flanagan, what's his
He
name?
did just flip over to Amazon, and they do have those rights, and he has made it no secret that he wants to do that. So I mean, I'm
Yeah.
trying not to jinx it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just like, please.
Please.
That was a pipe dream because I think Flanagan is a genius, and no one gets Stephen King more than him. He just gets it.
He did it, right?
No. That was Andre Muschietti, I think. He did he did Gerald's Game, and he did Doctor Sleep.
Okay.
And if you've watched Midnight Mass on Netflix, it's not a Stephen King story, but it's the most Stephen King thing you'll ever watch.
Nice.
Okay, yeah.
It's basically like a mashup of like 3 different Stephen King books, and it's just brilliant. But that guy's a humongous Stephen King fan. Like even we just finished Midnight Club, and he's got like huge Stephen King Easter eggs in it with Shining and Dead Zone, because he's just such a big Stephen King fan. So yeah, he said that's his holy grail. His words, his holy grail is to do Dark Tower.
Wow.
And now he's flipping to Amazon, and they have the rights. Oh my God, please, if you let him
why
do it,
Amazon?
get
Why
out of his
Amazon?
way and let him
let him do it.
God.
Exactly.
Amazon worries me.
Yeah. I'm extremely worried. You know, the thing is, like Amazon is like they said Jeff Bezos said he wants the next Game of Thrones, right? And so they had Ryan Condal in house, and he's making a Conan series, which everyone said was going to be amazing, and they ended up canceling it, and they wanted him to tone down the toxic masculinity, and he said, "No, that's kind of what makes Conan."
Yeah,
Conan.
exactly.
So he refused to do that, and they fired him. And you know what he did? He got hired by HBO, and he made the next Game of Thrones, House of Dragon. So way to go, guys! Yeah, Conan would have been amazing if he had done it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God, it would have been so good.
So did you like the It adaptation, the most recent?
Maybe it's better than I expected. I didn't want them to. I felt like they were influenced by Stranger Things, which is weird because Stranger Things was influenced by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was like, so they moved it into the 80s, where in the book it's the 50s, and then in the 80s when they're older. So with this, but take it to the 80s and into modern day, I thought was a very bad choice. But they wanted to capitalize on the success of Stranger Things, and it worked. They made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it just in the end they changed a little too much about what made it work, and that's why I think part 2 didn't do as good as part 1, because they changed too much. But
yeah,
as far as Stevie King adaptations go, it's one of the better ones.
Yeah, because I wish that I would have watched, because I saw the new It a year ago or whatever when it came out, and I also watched the original It when I was young, right?
Yeah.
And I loved that one, and it was properly terrifying because I was like, I don't know, I was like 9 years old.
That was my gateway to King, man. I was
exactly.
like 12 years old when that came out, and I soaked up everything Stephen King after
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, legend.
But
so to kind of circle back around, I was talking about the original Dresden Files show, and I feel like I'm such a hypocrite because like I was flipping tables about the Wheel of Time, and I'm not really like a huge Lord of the Rings fan at all, but I was kind of like, I
didn't
never
even know that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean I've seen the Peter Jackson movies, but I've never like read the books or anything.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. But with Rings of Power, I wasn't necessarily flipping tables, but I was like, it's gonna be shit, and I just didn't watch it. So you would think that with the Dresden Files TV show that was on Sci-Fi, I'd be like, they didn't get this right, they didn't get this right, they didn't get this right. Dude, I love it. I love the Dresden Files TV show. It's so like, you have to go into it knowing that it's not like following the books at all. But if you do, I feel like you can go in and have that like Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
And so when I go on vacation this Christmas, one of our episode ideas is to like watch the whole season of the Dresden Files
Yeah, he's
adaptation.
he's coming to stay with me for
Yeah.
a week and a half or whatever at my place.
Y'all gonna binge
Yeah.
Dresden Files? Huh?
Something,
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then,
know.
and then make a and then
Gabriel,
and then
make sure you have lots of alcohol on it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I've
there
seen one
will be.
episode. I don't
Yeah.
know.
We were actually
Sure.
shopping today, and I was like, we got to get a good bottle of whiskey for Spencer when he shows
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
No, I hope it's a good
Yeah.
time. I do. I hope
Yeah.
it's a good time.
We'll
I'm
make,
kind of like that. I like when people might look at it with fondness now, but I gotta say, my friends that had read Lord of the Rings after we saw Fellowship of the Ring, I was in tears. I loved it. Thought it was incredible. I never thought they could do this, and they're bitching about this has changed. There's no Tom Bombadil, blah. And I look at them, I go, who gives a fuck about Tom Bombadil? They're like stunned that I said that. So I get where you're coming from on stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer video for the second
so
channel?
many times. So many times.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite TV show of all time is
Yeah.
Buffy. I love Buffy. I love Angel so much. And I don't even know where I would begin. I'm talking about best episodes, some of my favorite characters, some of my favorite moments. I don't even know where to begin with something like that because I could just do a video where I turn on the camera and talk about everything great about Buffy and then realize, oh my God, it's been 4 hours.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I've rewatched that whole series so many times. The warts and all, I think it's just a beautiful series and some of the best character development ever. You think about the character arcs, and that goes over into Angel. Like you think of where Wesley Wyndham-Pryce starts on Buffy and where he ends on Angel, and it's like, or Cordelia. These are two different characters, man. It's amazing, and it was earned. It was earned. It was
earned.
Slow.
I like that.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing character development. So, and something else is I think that what we know about Joss Whedon, he may not be the best human in the world, but what the guy can do is he could write the way that kids were talking to each other at the time. When I was watching Buffy, I was the same age as those actors. I'm like, yeah, this sounds like our conversations at school. And I watched something like Dawson's Creek. I'm like, no one talks like this at our age.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think that might not age the best for newer audiences. But I mean, I don't know. I listen to kids talk now, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I guess it's kind of the same thing. Me being the same age as the kids were on the show when it came out, that really, really helped me a lot.
Yeah, I gotta get back to Buffy. A couple of years ago, I think I got through the first season and I really, really liked it, but I think I just got busy.
Hell, if you like season 1, man, buckle up. You'll love it because that's the one that people struggle with the most.
Really?
It's basically made on a budget of like $12.
Oh, that's true.
You can actually see like microphones and shit off in the corner.
I didn't
because it was a
notice
mid-season replacement. They had no idea that it was going to be the hit that it was.
Yeah.
So it only gets better as it goes. I mean, season 2 it's like night and day difference with season 1, but it is always still. It was a cheaply made show, but everything about it was amazing. So.
Yeah, I liked what I saw. Okay, so I feel like I have to.
Oh boy.
When he says that, hold on, let's stop for a second.
No, I saw on the notes here what you just clicked on. Like, oh boy.
When he says, "I feel like I have to," get ready. Hold yourself down.
Oh, okay.
I feel like everybody that's come on your channel lately has told you to watch Andor.
Oh, okay. I thought this was the team killer question. Okay.
And I feel like I have to like throw my hat in the ring here because like Mike, I'm with you. I hate Disney. I hate Disney. I hate all the new like Star Wars stuff. But somebody who I trust told me recently, like, just watch Andor, and the Critical Drinker endorsed it. So I was like, okay. And man, I'm probably 2 episodes away from the end, and it is phenomenal. It is like not just good for a Star Wars story. Like, it's a good show. I'm just saying.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I just wanted to throw it out.
Like, I'm protecting myself. Go ahead. I'm glad you're having fun.
For me, it was like the biggest slap in the face of my life is of my childhood is what they did to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. It was just like such an insult. And in my opinion, spoiler guys, they're gonna do the same thing with Indiana Jones. Buckle up, get ready.
Oh, let's talk about Indiana Jones.
With this is then they did the same thing. They knew the reaction from that. They knew that that was a mistake. And then they did the same thing with the Obi-Wan series. And that's why I just said, forget it. I'm done with you guys. You've had so many opportunities. And then every single time that happens, then what do? They gaslight the fans and make it all about it's the fans' fault. It's not I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this abusive relationship shit. I was like, I'm done. I'm gone. So I feel like here's what's going to happen. Andor is getting all this praise, and people are going to watch and they'll say, oh, this gives us the opportunity to make anything that we want now. Instead of, oh, well, people like this. Maybe we should do more of this. No. I'm just going to go back to doing what they've been doing. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm glad it's great. I'm glad that somebody is doing it.
I would say I haven't seen it. And I also haven't even heard about the new Indiana Jones trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. And let me just preface this. I don't have social media. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I don't have anything.
You know, people ask me, how do you read so much? Because I don't scroll social media, guys.
Yeah.
I do stuff.
I haven't had it for 10 years. Yeah.
For two things. I'm on Twitter to talk about sports because I do love sports. And sadly, it's still the best place to do it.
Yeah.
It really is because it's instant. You can get instant reaction, instant news, things like that. I block and mute everything else.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. I don't care. But that's when it comes to just scrolling, I don't do it. I don't watch a ton of TV. And guys, if you don't do those two things, you'd be amazed how much more time you
got. Yep. That's the truth for sure.
I spend so much time on Twitter and I hate myself for it every time. It's like when you you just eat like a whole cake by yourself or something, and afterwards you're like, I'm the biggest
you're just
piece
so
of shit.
disappointed in yourself. Like, that's thoroughly sad about it.
That's how I feel every time I scroll Twitter.
Sports and marketing, and I hardly ever just scroll. So people are like, oh, I wish you would interact with me more on Twitter. I'm like, come to the Discord. I'll actually talk to you there.
There you go.
And it isn't because I'm trying to dodge anybody. It's just because
that's like your.
I will scroll my Discord because I have rules in place.
Yeah. Exactly.
So Twitter's a little too Wild West for me, and let's just leave it there. That's a conversation.
No, that's fine. Yeah, definitely. I was thinking, I was like,
that's like I just ate a gallon of ice cream and I feel awful about it.
Yeah. I want to jump in your Discord, man.
Yeah, definitely. Please do.
On the Fantasy Files Discord, we're in there, Gabe.
We are? Okay, cool.
On that account,
Yeah, I haven't been in that account for a little while, but I'll
there is a learning curve, but
I want to log into it with my account, like the one that I have, so then I can still be part. But
Mike, how did you grow your how'd you grow your Discord? Did you just make one and people came,
when people were telling me a lot on the channel, I think after I got over about 5,000 subs, people were like, you don't have a Discord, you need to start a Discord. And I was like, that's another social media that I don't have time to manage. And they're like, oh, it's no big deal. You just assign some moderators and let them handle it. I'm like, It's not like you want me to tell you, am I going to ask people to work for me for free or whatever?
Yeah.
So I joined a different one. It was called Caravan, which is hilarious because they've since banned me.
Oh, really?
We'll get to in a second.
Okay. I want to hear
I joined one called Caravan, and it was just like a book group thing like that. And the learning curve was rough. At first, I was like, I don't understand what's going on, but I think any social media is like that. But once I got used to it, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then I was like, you know what? I actually had like my own channel on that one where people could talk about this or that or whatever. And I think this is pretty neat. And a lot of people were like, you should start your own. I was like, I gotta tell you what, if I start my own, will you guys all follow me over there? They said yes. Okay. So once I started over there, by the way, the reason they banned me is because I said that I thought H.P. Lovecraft was ahead of his time. That's it.
Oh my God.
That's it. Yikes. Anyway, take of that or what you will.
Yeah.
So when I started my own Discord, it was like it just slowly just kind of like started taking a life on its own, and just I put it in the description of the video, and I put that at the end of every video. I put find us on Discord or whatever, and just kind of I think we're at like 7,500 users right now, which everybody tells me is too much. Yeah, I get people like, oh, your Discord's too big. And I'm like,
you're like, what?
All right. I mean, I get it. I get you want like small, intimate conversation, I guess. I mean, honestly, I just have several channels that I go to, and a lot of it I don't even do. So that's why I do have moderators to make sure no one's breaking rules, because we don't have very many rules there, but we have like a couple big ones that are like big no-nos.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of how I feel when I go on anybody's Discord, just because it's not like a format that I'm used to. And so I'll hop into a Discord and I'm like, how do I start a conversation? Like there's so many people like that, like the chat is going.
Yeah, we have it
I'm
broke
like,
down by
where
like book series and
yeah,
which is
genres and stuff like
cool. Yeah.
that. Just
I'm
a
like,
general and introduce yourself kind of thing. It's just
I'm on Discord like right now, and I don't even know how to like. Do you have to send me a link, or can I look you up?
all my videos I have in the description, and you
Okay. All
can
right.
just click the
Yep.
link.
I'll
It's
check out
open.
we'll
YouTube.
find it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need an invite. It's open, so you
Cool.
can just
Nice.
join in.
Yeah, because so we started ours, and like a few of our like good friends are on there, but it hasn't really grown much. So
And
I'm
it probably
thinking
won't
like,
for a while. Like
yeah,
it's just something that's gonna take time. But
Yeah.
yeah,
even
Yeah.
the people we have, like we still have fun with, you know.
yeah,
Like I said, I think I had about 500 people from the start. They all said they would follow me over there if I made my own. So
right,
just kind of go on, and then because I'll go ahead and say the rules were no politics, no religion. Let's keep it about the books, basically.
yeah,
And I had with general discussion threads.
yeah,
But basically, I was like, if you want to talk about politics and religion, guys, there's this thing called Twitter, and
right,
it's a lot bigger platform for you to do that. You can do that there.
yeah,
So I basically like that. It was like, and don't be a dick. These are real
yeah,
simple rules.
yeah,
And I even today, if someone breaks those rules, we'll say, hey, watch it. And they're like, oh,
yeah,
okay, I didn't know that was a rule here. No big deal. And it's
yeah,
fine. And what do you know? We have this incredibly positive community because we
Yeah.
eliminated those two things.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, you mentioned H.P. Lovecraft. And I want to say I very much agree with you. I've heard you say a few times like separate, the art from the
And I
artist.
know everybody
And
can't do it, but yeah,
yeah,
I'm lucky that I can do that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I definitely very much agree with that. But I started reading H.P. Lovecraft recently. I haven't gotten very far at all, but I read Shadow over Innsmouth, and
Nice.
that was I really liked that. And then there was another one I started. I forget the name. Was it Mountains?
At the Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, I started that and I haven't finished it yet, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And I feel like I had this kind of preconceived notion where anything written before like the 2000s
Sure.
would seem really old and it'd be hard to get through. And then I just picked up Shadow over Innsmouth. I'm like, oh, this sounds like more or less something that would be written today in a horror book. And yeah,
I think it's tough for some people, and you hear this with Lord of the Rings too. It's tough for people to accept that humans as a whole spoke differently 100 years ago, just like our
Right.
dialect was different.
yeah,
And so it's hard for people like that with Robert E. Howard, Edgar Rice Burroughs. They'll go back to it and be like, nobody talks like this. Yeah, now they don't.
Yeah.
They did,
Yeah.
then. So, and with Lovecraft, I think his is all about mood, setting a mood for you, basically fear of the
Yeah.
unknown. He doesn't even give his characters names. It's just the man,
Yeah.
the woman, and things like that. His is more all about the atmosphere, and I love
Yeah.
that because he will get you feeling a little creepy about just about
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, there's this scene in Shadow over Innsmouth where the guy is like in his hotel room and person after person after person keeps coming by and like trying his door and like trying to like unlock and open it.
Yeah, he
And
builds paranoia just better
yeah.
than anyone, man. Yeah, so
Oh
good.
my gosh, something about that scene just had me like it like gave me chills, like it had me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, it's amazing he can do that in like 20 pages too. His stories are
Yeah.
all like short stories, and he can do
Yeah.
that so quick. It's amazing.
Yeah. But my recommendation, real quick, if you want a book that'll actually like really scare you, have you heard of Bone White by Ronald Malfi?
I talked
Oh,
to
that
Rachel
is
from
so good.
Shades of Orange recently, and she
Oh, maybe
recommended
she
it to me.
recommended it.
Yeah, she recommended it to me.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely should read it because Gabe and I so far we're relatively new to like horror stories, just like since we started the podcast. And yeah, I so far I hadn't read anything that really scared me, and I was like, what's a book that can actually like make me trip out a little bit and get a little bit scared? And man, Bone White,
Yeah.
whew, there are some scenes in that book where I had to implement a rule where I couldn't listen to it past a certain hour because I was jumping at every single sound in my house.
Yeah, I went into reading that book with the personal thought of like I don't think there's a book that's gonna scare me that bad. Like, because I've read some Stephen King stuff, whatever else, Dean Koontz, which is more of kind of action thriller, but it really was scary.
Yeah.
Like there were some points where I'm like fearful for myself, even though I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like I need to turn the light on because I'm like
Yeah.
freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
Really good book.
Yeah, I have it on my Goodreads already.
Nice.
Yeah. We've tried some Stephen King. I can't say that any of it has really clicked for me yet. I think we've done Salem's Lot. We did The Gunslinger.
I actually started Midnight Eyes. Is that?
Oh, that's Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz.
I was
Okay.
about to say,
Yeah. No. Yeah. They blend together for me.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure not. I'm not as big as Stephen King fan. I've only read like one or two, I think, and of course, like I've seen the movies and stuff. But
so as the books go on, do you think will I like them more as they get more modern? Do you think, Mike?
I'm not really sure because Salem's Lot, I would say, is a top 10 book of his. So
right,
that didn't really click for you. I'm not really sure because I think that Salem's Lot, I mean, even reading it as an adult got me creeped out, like when they were going through the woods and stuff. So there's some creepy stuff in there. So I'm not sure. I mean, I want to say that he does things different enough that you might find some that work for you, some that don't. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Have you read any Dean Koontz?
No.
No.
It's become like a joke at this point where it's like it's not really like a hate thing, but if someone's a big Stephen King fan, or if they're a big Dean Koontz fan and they don't pretend that that's actually a rivalry, they're lying. It's an unspoken rivalry, but it is a rivalry.
Yeah,
where we feel like it's like Dune versus Ender's Game. For a long time, there was like a cold war between those two fandoms about who had the best science fiction book. You know, so it really is. It really is. To a point to now where it's like, I'm not saying I wouldn't read Dean Koontz. I'm just saying I haven't. That's all.
Okay. Well,
plus he looks like a nerd. Not that King doesn't. I'm just saying.
Yeah. If you ever do read Dean Koontz, Soul Survivor, I think is probably
and Watchers
the one.
Too.
And
Watchers
Watchers
really
too.
Good.
But I think
maybe if he had some better book covers.
Yeah, they all suck. They all suck.
I'm glad
I don't judge a book by its cover unless it's awesome. But sometimes I'll see some of these book covers like I'm not reading that.
Yeah, it's a nice thing about only listening on an Audible is like I don't even ever see a cover. I just Spencer's like listen to this, got it.
Someone told me like one time about Dean Koontz, like just make sure you buy the books on Kindle because all the covers are actually like
yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is a question that I wanted to ask you on a stream one time. I was going to ask it through a super chat, but then I was kind of like, well, I'll probably want to ask some follow-up questions.
Sure.
So I feel like you've given me so many book recommendations. There, like I read Blake Crouch because of you, and I've read like so many of his books now, and I love them.
Crouch is awesome, yeah.
But you've mentioned that that two of the books that you like the least are King Killer and Night Angel.
No.
King Killer is not even on the same level with Night Angel in hatred. With King Killer is I just didn't get it. Why people act like this is reinventing the wheel. I just that's all. It was really I think he's a great writer. I just don't think that the story was that good. I didn't really like the characters, and I'm just a character first guy. You can have the most beautiful prose ever, and he has a beautiful prose, but I'm just like, there's other authors out there who have a beautiful prose, but they have a good story too. Yeah. That was really all it was with King Killer, and it's just become like my identity. This guy, you know, and so I just embraced it, you know. The thing is, I have a video on the channel of unpopular opinion on Name of the Wind. It did that. I just like felt like I was. That was a completely spur of the moment thing. I had some extra time that day before my kids got home, and I said, I've already got everything set up. What can I just do without any thought?
Yeah.
Why not Name of the Wind? And I don't do rant videos because I like to keep everything really positive.
Yeah.
But that's probably the closest I came to a rant video. And it wasn't really about the content of the book as much as it was like, I don't understand why everyone acts like this is the Bible. I don't understand what's so amazing about it. That's all it was. Now, I fucking hated Night Angel. And the thing is, I tried it again recently.
I know.
And I wanted to drink Drano. It was like, I don't get it. I think the guy is a talented writer, Brent Weeks. I do.
Yeah.
I think he tries too hard to be edgy.
Yeah.
And
That's fair.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
The whole time reading Night Angel, I'm just like, all right, these names are absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Some of this dialogue is just like, how did you write that and not laugh?
Yeah.
It's I get why people like it, especially if that was like your introduction to fantasy.
That was
Yeah, for
mine.
sure.
I was
Yeah. I
literally
get
just
why
gonna
it's
say that.
the-
It
why
was
it's-
my introduction to fantasy.
I get why it's important to you.
Yeah.
It's just it's
Yeah.
one of those things. I'm like, he can't decide if he wants to be YA, if he wants to be erotica, or if he wants to be just dark fantasy. It's like he just can't decide. I feel like he wanted to write a grimdark story, and they said, "Well, I don't want to lose the teen audience, and hey, I'm playing
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Let me write some of that in here too."
Yeah.
With Brent Weeks and me, it's like, you know how people treat Metallica, like they
Yeah.
like Metallica, great band, but I feel like the latter half of their careers, like they have so much potential and they're not using it. That's how I feel about
Yeah.
Brent Weeks. I think he has the
Yeah.
potential to be one of the best modern fantasy writers. I feel like he just throws it all away. Like Lightbringer. Oh my God, I have never wanted to flip a table more. Reading
Wait,
that
don't tell Gabe that. Don't tell Gabe that.
No,
You
I mean,
might feel differently.
I definitely didn't like Lightbringer as much as I liked.
I want Gabe to read Lightbringer.
Book
so
one,
bad.
I liked a lot. Book
Well,
two, I thought was incredible. Book three, I was like, there's some cracks in the foundation, but it's still really, really good.
Yeah.
Book four was so painful to read. I could not believe what this guy did. So much so that I have the fifth book signed by Brent Weeks. I still haven't read it.
That hurts my
So
soul.
with me, it's just a thing about potential. I feel like
Yeah.
Brent Weeks has so much potential, and he either
Yeah.
tries to M. Night Shyamalan the ending, or he just tries to be like, what can I do that could be like super edgy? And it's just like, why are you doing this? And sometimes he will do that thing where he'll feel like he has to turn into like a 12-year-old writing about boobs or something.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, come on.
So I've read Lightbringer, just not all of them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
About disappointment, yeah.
No. I meant Spencer. He's like, don't tell Gabe because.
Well, yeah, because I want
me to finish
continue.
the story.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
probably not going to. Just gonna say right now, like it's not
You'll
on my
know.
radar.
You'll know in book 4 or not if you're going to finish the series or
Yeah.
not, because it has like a big
Well,
reveal.
we like read the first two, right? Was it just the first two?
I
Yeah.
love the first two.
Yeah, you read the first two. I kept going.
Okay.
I don't think I've finished book 4
Because I was
Great
satisfied with the
characters,
first two.
Good romance, very good magic system. Everything was just firing on all cylinders. Had a good
Okay.
coming of age story.
Yeah, I feel great about not continuing.
Oh
flushed
my
it
god.
down the toilet, man. Just
That's-
to have a big
Oh man.
shocking moment, just to have a twist.
That's funny because like the third book made it into like my top 3 books of last year.
Yeah, 3 was still pretty good. 4.
Yeah.
4.
Okay. That's so
I did a thing like
disappointing.
my books I've hated the most since I've started reading.
It was
started
on
this
there.
channel. Blood Mirror would be number 1 without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Night Angel, man, that's funny. I see everything you're saying. It was also my introduction to fantasy, along with like probably like Dresden Files and stuff like that. But yeah, man, that's so funny. I'm like a Night Angel super fan. I love Night Angel.
Oh, like with all these things, I always say, man, this is just my opinion.
No,
And
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
you're
love
entitled
something,
to it, dude. You're
I
entitled
definitely
to it.
don't want to take that away from you.
No,
for
it's
sure,
it's
yeah.
not about
Because there
that, man.
are other booktubers out there, they'll be like, oh, for example, I've never read Terry Goodkind, but they act like if you've read Terry Goodkind, you're the AIDS of the internet. You need to go die.
Right,
I'm like,
yeah.
what do you care if someone else?
Yeah.
thinks?
I
Like,
know.
I don't like. I didn't
I
like
don't-
that Lee Bardugo book I read.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Billions of others do, and
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
you
going to take
can't
that away from them.
project either, man. Exactly. Like you're not. You gotta have your own opinion. Otherwise, it's all not
Yeah.
there, dude.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
always
like, hey, I read
say-
First Law because of you, and it was fucking awful. And I'm like,
Oh my
all
God.
You're
right.
like, that's not my fault. Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah,
besides, those
I-
people are wrong anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kidding.
I always say like it's more fun to like disagree on the podcast than it is to agree, because then you get multiple viewpoints and you get like a more
Well, it's no fun when
complete
everybody's all,
picture.
"Oh my god, it
And
was
that's
perfect."
something
like
that I
echo
want to make
chamber.
sure I made a staple of the channel. I was like, I
Yeah.
felt like we had gotten to this point as a society where it was like, agree with me or else.
Yeah.
Echo
Right.
chambers only. And I'm like,
Yep.
why can't we disagree on something,
right.
talk about it, and still get
Yeah.
a beer afterwards? I
Yep.
never
Right.
see why
Exactly.
are we really going to fight over an opinion on a book?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
really what we come to? You know,
Right.
so
That's
I
a
don't
great
know.
way to
Let
say
other
that.
people enjoy things, and hey, let's talk about it. If you didn't like it, cool. What'd you like about it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Exactly.
Talk to each
I
other.
totally agree.
It is sad though, because I feel like, and obviously like I would never like expect you to get through 2 books just to get to the third one, but the third book is like so good. And
I
like the
knew
ending,
he was gonna say that.
there's this moment at the end where just like everything comes together in such
That's
an
true.
unexpected way.
The ending is pretty awesome. I won't
And
disagree
like
with
I
that.
literally cry every time I get to that ending. I'm just like tearing up.
Well, I tried again, man. It just didn't work. I think maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it
Yeah,
just
you tried
didn't pass me
twice,
by.
right? You tried the first book, and then you got
I
the
got
second
into
book.
the second one the first go around. This time I couldn't even finish the first one.
It's
Trying
the
to
effort that
Oh,
counts.
like
You
somehow
tried.
Yeah.
somehow it's worse the second time. It's not-
Yeah.
Forget it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just not for me.
And that's fair. Like some of the dialogue is really cringy for sure. Especially like the terminology. Like when we had people on, we were doing a Night Angel episode. We had
They didn't
some
like
other,
it either, by the way.
yeah, and they were like, they kept saying like, why are they called wet boys? Like that sounds sexual. Yeah. uh,
All right, let's
Um,
just move away from the Night Angel subject.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of carry on
Well,
here.
last
I'm just joking.
last thing I want to say about it is I saw in your book tour you have the special edition. If you ever want to sell it, I will buy it from
Yeah.
you. No joke. I will.
Oh, of Night Angel?
Yeah.
It's
If-
signed too.
Oh shit.
He'll buy it from you.
Yeah. If you ever feel like selling it, I will buy it.
Oh,
'Cause
You
man.
name the
yeah.
price, he'll buy it.
It's so weird because
Can't
when I
find
was
them
first
anywhere.
when I was first reading 2 series that I consider unfinishable now
Yeah.
is Demon Cycle by
Oh,
Peter
yeah.
Brett and Lightbringer by Brent Weeks. And when I first started them, I was loving both of them.
Yeah.
And so I went and paid crazy money to get the hardcover
Oh,
set.
yeah.
And now I'm like, well, I ain't getting rid of them. It's too expensive to
That's
get them.
true.
Get
Yeah,
'em.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to read them, and I'm not going to talk about anything.
Yeah, they're just gonna
Yeah.
stay right where they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
They look good on the shelf, at least.
Yep, true that.
Yeah, the Demon Cycle, that was one where I went into it knowing the rest of the series goes downhill, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna
One of the
enjoy
best book ones
enjoy
ever.
the first one.
And,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, Gabe and I both loved it. It was great. Let's see. We talked about King Killer.
I want to hear this right
Oh.
here.
What's that?
I just highlighted it. Spencer says, I have a couple books I want to
Oh.
send you.
Yes. So I do have a couple books that I want to send you, Mike. And I know that, so many of your listeners send you books, and most of them are like check out my self-published book I wrote,
Right.
which I think is really cool that you give them like the screen time for
Yeah, I
that
tell
and
them I'm not going to have time to read it, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely, get it out there for you if I can.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, as a fan who watches all your videos, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what you would actually like. I have 2 books I'm gonna send you, and if you get the chance to read them, great. But I feel like I feel like you would love them.
Oh no, that looked pretty thick.
Yeah. So
it
so
did.
this is We Break Immortals by Thomas Howard Riley. And it's epic fantasy. He calls it rated R epic fantasy. And basically, so it's about this guy who is kind of he's kind of like a CSI guy. He tracks down like rogue sorcerers, and it's his job to kind of like when they start doing like black magic and stuff, he has to like go find them and take them down. And so the book, like, that's like a really basic idea of what the book is about. But really, like, the characters are absolutely amazing. Like, the whole adventure is very epic in scope. The magic system is very Sanderson. And I think I've heard you say that you don't like a magic system that kind of takes over the plot, right?
Correct.
So this doesn't, like, or at least I don't feel like it does, but it does have that kind of like Sanderson, you don't need to like take notes to figure it out or anything, but everything like connects really well in like the way that like Stormlight does, or in the way that like, Mistborn does. And I think you mentioned on a video that Mistborn was kind of the book where it took over the plot, I think.
No,
right?
no, that was the most recent Stormlight Archive book, but
Oh,
where they
okay.
I feel like if you have to explain your magic, I don't need the magic explained to me.
Yeah.
It's like I said,
You
I
gotta
grew up
figure it
reading Lord of
out,
the
yeah.
Rings. Why can Gandalf do magic? Because he's a fucking wizard. That's why he can do
Yeah,
magic.
yeah.
Right.
I don't need you to tell
Yeah.
me the science of it. And
Yep.
Sanderson started doing that in Stormlight Archive. No, Mistborn, I
Mhm.
said, is like when I first started reading it, they had the elemental chart at the beginning. Like, okay, oh,
Yeah.
mix these two. What does this do? And I was following it. And then after a while, I was be like, you know what? They're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Shit's
I know
gonna
this one
happen.
heals. They're fighting. Cool.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm gonna let him do the math.
That's
And then
right.
I'm just gonna
Exactly.
read it.
You
Yeah,
just enjoy it.
I think you could definitely take the same approach with this, because he does like explain how it works. But like when I first started reading it, I was like, okay, I'll figure it out as I go. And throughout the book, it was kind of like, even if you don't understand exactly what's happening with the magic in that moment, like it makes sense. It's an action scene. He's hitting him with this, he's hitting him with that, back and forth magic. So it's not like I said, you don't really need to take notes to figure it out. But I think like this is my number one favorite book for the year.
Wow.
And I think
Okay.
it's the characters and how, like, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody do a better character arc over one book. Like all of the people in this group that are part of this journey, they grow so much in such believable ways, to the point where, they all have flaws, and there's points where you're like, what, like, when are they gonna get it, like when are they gonna understand? And it kind of goes on, but like that's how like a real person would react to
Yeah.
that situation. And so I appreciated it when they did come full circle with their arc at the end. I'm like, oh, that felt like a real person. The action is amazing. The mystery is really, really good. There's a mystery that's like a through line throughout the whole book. It's really fantastic. It is a little thick, but I would say the only downside to this book is there's spelling errors.
Oh no.
I
Yeah.
read a lot of arcs, uncorrected proofs.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. I know
Yeah.
that it's it
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
And these spelling errors aren't like, they're not going to like hold you back from like understanding what's going on, but instead of, it's almost like autocorrect did it, cuz like instead of not, it'll say now. And so it's
Oh.
kind of that kind of stuff. So that one, I think you'll like that one. The one that I know you'll love is
Ooh.
called We Men of Ash and Shadow.
Oh yeah.
And the way I describe this to people is, so I tried the first law twice. I've gotten through the bladed self about 75% both times, and then kind of set it aside. I'm gonna try it again in this new year. But when I read We Men of Ash and Shadow, I'm like, oh, this is what I wanted the first law to be. And I feel like it gets a lot of comparisons to First Law. And I'm not even sure. There's a few characters with different things going on. Basically, I would say the story really revolves around this city called Dorsey. And it's this very, very grimdark city. Everybody is kind of like impoverished. Even the nobles, they're kind of living out of their, dilapidated mansions and stuff. And it follows this guy, John Vanguard, and the city is basically, there's no real like government. It's kind of ruled by like a crime lord kind of person. And he is more or less a fixer for the crime lord, for this crime lord Sanquin. And so he's kind of going about his thing and doing like assassinations or, you know, random tasks for him. And then this other kid comes in and kind of becomes Vanguard's protege. And it's kind of the story about them and how I don't want to give too much away because that becomes a big part of the book. But it's very dark. It's very real. The characters, they're really funny characters. I feel like the dialogue is some of the best dialogue that I've read. And so I think that's the one. If there's one of these that you didn't like and one that you loved, I think it would be We Men of Ash and Shadow.
Yeah.
And it's a shorter read. It's a very short read. So
I'm not above anything.
For sure. Yeah.
Anyways,
It's hard. It's hard as a big First Law fan that when people tell me it's like First Law, and then
I know.
like it's not like First Law.
But
But you know, to me, that's just that might be my Night Angel, in that like
Right.
that's what introduced me to a genre, grimdark.
right.
You
for
know,
sure.
into nothing's ever going to compare to it. You know,
Yeah.
so I admit there might be some nostalgia attached.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I gotta try First Law again. I tried it twice, and I think both times it was just a case of like, this isn't what I'm looking for right now. You know, it's like, it's not like I don't hate it. I didn't even really dislike it. I just it wasn't right for me at the time. You know,
The first book is tough for some people because they don't go anywhere. It's all
Right.
in one setting, and that's
Yeah.
tough for them because it's just setting up his characters. But I know it's real. I try not to be the guy that's like, well, make sure you read at least 2 of books first. Yeah, I try not to be that guy. I tell people it's kind of rough because I would say, you know, you'll know after book 2 if you want to keep going or not. But then I'm like, at that point, you're almost done. You might as well go ahead and finish it. You know,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's rough for me to say that, but I was like, book 2 does have your questing and all that kind of stuff that you're probably
Okay.
looking for in more traditional fans. But it is very much a deconstruction of fantasy. It
Right.
is.
Right.
So if that's not what you're looking for, it might not be for you. But for me, Sandan Clockta is the most fascinating character in literature. So I love that character so much.
Yeah, he was the hardest chapters to read.
Really?
Yeah, well, like you know, he's cool as a grimdark character, but there was so many things about him that I was just like,
You don't like when he shits himself? I mean,
yeah.
there's sometimes with Glockta chapters, I'll be like, what am I reading right now?
I know. Yeah, was the second trilogy pretty good? Was it as good as the first?
Oh, there's a standalones and then there's a sequel trilogy. I'd say the sequel trilogy is like, yeah, I like that world and stuff, but I won't lie, I do long. It's like I love Fateful and the Fallen by John Gwynne.
Yeah.
And then he had the books, 3 books that take place in the same world about 150 years later. And I'm like, I still like it, but like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm longing for those characters
Right.
from the first one. You know, so the same with this is like you do have, you know, some of those characters that live through the original trilogy will pop up in the sequel ones, but they're not the stars. He never lets them take over from the new characters, you know, and it's probably the right decision.
Right.
But it's rough because those characters show up and I just want them to take over the story again, you know? So it's weird. It's very good on its own. But to me, again, that's like saying, people tell me, Mike, do you ever think anything will be better than the original Star Wars trilogy? I'm like, they could make 3 movies that are the most amazing thing I have ever seen in my life. But I've been watching the original trilogy since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You can't knock that off its pedestal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, nostalgia does play into something.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. You got me into Red Rising. And
yes, love it.
that is something like I ate those books up as soon as I finally took the plunge. The first book, I can see why people don't necessarily enjoy. Yeah. But I feel like I enjoyed it enough to get me to the second one, and Golden Sun and Morning Star. Morning Star makes it into my top 3 this year as well. And oh, dude, that book, Chris is reading Morning Star right now, Gabe.
I know. I need to give it another shot. So I read the first one and really enjoyed it, and I moved on to the second one and I made it 2 hours in and stopped.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So to me, all the problems I have with book 1, like in the first 100 pages of book 2, I was like, well, he fixed all the problems I had with book 1.
And I believe you. I'm not saying that it wasn't good, and it was just I just wasn't
feeling
there.
it.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it because I
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the first one. I thought the whole way it was set up was really cool, and I know that the potential is there, and I know I should listen to it again.
Yeah.
But I just got to the part where they were bombing some people and factions, and I was just like, I'm gonna listen to Dresden Files or something else, like.
Oh, I'm actually going to be doing a reread of that leading up to the release of the new book next year. So like January, February, March, April, May, we're doing all 5 of the ones that are
Oh,
out.
sick.
And
Or
then
you
he
do
actually
like a
delayed it in
read
a month.
along or just
On the Discord, we're just each month
Okay.
we're going to do a book, and if you want to talk about it, you
That's
can.
cool.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
I
just-
would
it's
like
just I want to
that.
encourage more people to give the
Yeah.
series a try because there's so many people who are just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I would
so
like
I'm saying,
that.
hey, I'm going to reread it. I'm going to do the first like official re-reviews on my channel because the channel was a baby when I did those reviews, and I had no format, and those reviews were terrible. And I hate when people still comment on them because I'm afraid that's going to be their first impression of the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to like give them the real, full re-review treatment, and then do like spoiler kind of discussion things for them because it's just gonna be so much fun. As I love that series so much, and I want more people to discover it because a lot of people won't give it a try. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They have this preconceived notion that all it is Hunger Games on Mars, and I'm like, you'll get that vibe with book 1, and then when you get the book 2, you're like, oh, well, I was way wrong. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And I think that's one of the darkest series out there. Like,
oh, dude,
books 4 and 5 are some of the most brutal, grimdark stuff I've ever read.
I haven't read them yet, and I've wanted to, but I've kind of been like, I didn't want it to be like a Mistborn Era 2 situation. But I liked Mistborn Era 2 when I took a big break from the first era. And so I'm wondering if I need to do that with Red Rising.
Well, in April, I'll be doing Iron Gold. If you want to wait till then, man, you can hop on with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can figure out how to use Discord and join
me. Yeah. I know. I'm ready, dude. I'm gonna get on there. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great series.
Yeah, Dresden Files. So are you doing like discussion videos for the whole series, or are you going like every book?
Red Rising, well, I'll do a re-review, just a standard review like I do now for each one of the 5 books. And then I think after that, I'll have like I don't know if I can get people together, maybe I'll do like a discussion panel where we just talk about everything that's happened in the 5 books, what we want to see happen in Lightbringer and Red God and all that kind of stuff. Just, nice. Overall for people who have read it and want to hear us talk about spoilers. I think that's the best way to do it. Because when I do spoiler reviews, no one watches them. No one watches them. But if I do like a discussion, people are interested in that.
Yeah, that's the hard part about what we do too, is because like we do like pretty much every single one of our episodes is like spoiling an entire book, doing a full spoiler discussion. And by doing that, it like kind of closes off a certain amount of the audience who hasn't read it. But then we do like spoiler free videos and stuff to like try to supplement that. And sometimes those do better, but
yeah, I do spoiler free reviews, and it's rough because people are like, oh, well, I've already read it. I don't need to be sold in the book. But then I'll do a spoiler review and like, oh yeah, but I already know what happens. I don't need a spoiler. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? So reviews they're rough, man. They're rough.
I feel like your spoiler free reviews are cool though, because you do it in a way where like the people who have already read it, like if like you say things where like we know what you're getting at, right? Like you don't go into spoilers, but you talk about it in a way where like for those who know, they know, right? And so that's always beneficial. But
yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm never gonna stop. Every time I say that, like, hey, reviews are the least popular video, people are like, please don't stop doing them. I have book reviews in my title. I'm never gonna stop doing them. I'm just trying to tweak things to find ways, to get that throw back, make them sexy again.
There you go.
Yeah,
I used to do reviews, man. They were huge. Now it's like every month I'll like, okay, I did 20 videos this month, and the bottom 5 videos or the 5 reviews I did this month. It's like, what am I doing wrong? I think it's just, and I honestly believe that is the shorts and book talk and stuff is shorter attention spans. They're not interested in me talking about something for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They want their, 3-minute review. Cause I get that a lot. People who just find the channel like, why did it take you until 2 minutes and 45 minutes to start reviewing the book? And I'm like, you want a guy who presses play and starts talking about the book review? It might not be the channel.
Yeah.
There's channels like that for you. I just don't feel like I can particularly review a book in under 10 minutes.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just me. There's too much to talk about.
Yeah. Definitely.
Hell, I can't talk about this Tumblr for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Gift
Or
of
like-
Gab is a gift and a blessing and a curse.
There you go.
I ramble way too much. Way too much.
Well, let's shift directions a little bit if you guys want to keep going. Do you guys want to talk about video games? Have you been playing anything lately?
God of War. I'm playing the new God of War.
Is it good?
Slowly. Yeah. If you like the first one, I don't see any reason you won't like this one.
Okay.
I actually think it actually kind of improves on the first one in that it lets you play a few other characters. Like,
Oh, cool.
you actually get to play as Atreus sometimes solo. You get to play him with another character. You get to play as Freya in this one. That's really, really cool. So it's really cool things that they let you do other characters, and you can build their skill trees and things like that. And the story is just as solid as the last one's was. So
Nice.
yeah. I've been a God of War fan since the very first game. So it's amazing to me the longevity that this franchise has had.
Awesome.
And it's definitely one of the keepers. I'd say it's right up there with like Zelda with me. Is like was one of my favorite ongoing series. I mean, it's been like 20 years now that this franchise has been going. So
yeah.
It's amazing.
Have you guys heard of? I had a coworker that I was talking to the other day talk about like Vermintide, Warhammer 40K, Vermintide or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you either of you guys played that? No.
I haven't played it, but I've seen like gameplay.
Okay,
and
he
stuff.
said that it was super fun, and I was on the fence because I've never ever played any of those games.
Is that like a multi online game?
I don't think so.
So it looked like do you guys remember the Shadow of Mordor game?
Yeah.
It looked like that, except I think you're in first person and you can choose different classes.
Yeah, he made it seem that it was like the action, the fighting was like not Gears of War. Oh my god, I'm gonna forget. What's the other? No, not Halo. I got it on my Steam thing. Hold on. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name,
I'm
dude.
still a single player campaign open world kind of guy is really still what I am. All the online stuff, all the PvP, all that, like Destiny, it's just
so have you played like Horizon and stuff, like Horizon Zero Dawn?
Oh yeah,
well,
I love Horizon.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Great.
So I played that once before, like a long time when it came out on the PS3 or PS4 or whatever. And I just recently downloaded it onto my PC, so I'm gonna start another playthrough of the first one again, which I'm really excited about.
You know what I do every single time? Like, let me look at this huge backlog of games I got to play. No, I'm just gonna play Skyrim again.
Yeah.
A new build.
I know.
I think I probably sunk over 1,000 hours of my life into Skyrim.
Nice.
Yeah.
500 into The Witcher 3. So
yeah. Dude. I'm doing that right now with Fallout 4. I had never played. I played Fallout 3 like a long time ago when it first came out. Then Fallout 4 came out and I just wasn't super interested in it. And then Gabe tried to get me to play it. I played it literally for one day while he was there with me, and then I set it down and never touched it. And then
Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then recently, like maybe a month and a half ago, I was like, I'm gonna try Fallout 4 again, and I have not it's been years since I've been this addicted to a video game.
That was me with Fallout 3.
I love Fallout 3.
I didn't play Fallout 3 when it came out.
How about New Vegas?
I played it much later after I fell in love with Fallout 3. It's like 3 years after everybody else. Fallout 3. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm on vacation. Why? I'll give it a shot. Man, I think I sunk 60 hours in that game over where my wife was like getting pissed. Where she was like, hello, are you around? Because I was obsessed with it. I'm like reading the lore. I'm reading all the background. I'm like just checking out books and shit about this fake universe because I loved it so much. So it'll get you.
One of the best things I've ever heard is that you and your wife would put the kids down early to play Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild came out.
This
was the most irresponsible parenting thing we've ever
I
done.
love this story.
So awesome.
My oldest was 4. My youngest was 1. So at that age, kids still sleep a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And we got so addicted to Breath of the Wild when it came out that every single night we'd be putting in the bed at 7 and we'd be playing that game till 1 in the morning on work nights because we were that obsessed with it. We were forgoing sleep to play that game. And that was the kind of game where it was like, it was hard. And I know that a lot of people that play like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, like, it wasn't hard. For us, that's the kind of game that was very hard.
Too, yeah.
And it helped us playing it together because every time one of us would get frustrated, we just give the other person a control.
Pass it on. Yep.
But there was just so much to discover in that game that we just
know.
we went nuts with it.
I'm still
Every
playing it.
shrine, everything. We found everything.
Exactly. Your
in that game.
completionist stuff. I'm still playing it to this day, man. When it first came out, it was all I did. And even yesterday I sat down for 3 hours and was shrine collecting in
Oh,
Breath
you
of
did
the
it
Wild.
yesterday?
Yes, dude. I
Nice.
played for 3 hours yesterday.
Wow.
And I do
did
that
all the
like
download stuff,
twice a week. Twice a week I'll sit down for like 2 or 3 hours and play this game.
Wow.
It's still so much fun, dude.
Well, there is no better feeling than, you know, picking like especially a story-based video game where you can kind of pass the controller and having somebody who is just as committed to finishing it as you are and being able to pass the controller back and forth and like experience that story together.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing about Breath of the Wild, man, is that it's a toss up. Like they give you this thing that you can do, but you can go any way you want.
Right.
A lot of Zelda fans, because that's my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
And a lot of people complained about, oh, it doesn't have like dungeons and stuff like that. It's like, it does. They're just broken to 160 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I loved about it was like, it was the first one since the very first game.
Yeah.
It drops you to open world. It says,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Here you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Figure it out.
You know how you found out? When you found it real quick. Okay, I can't go there yet because I've got my ass blasted.
Exactly.
So I better go try this area. Maybe it's easier. And that's how you learn. You learn. You learn by death.
The best part of that game, in my opinion. Yeah.
I think I probably died 1,000 times in that game. At least.
Yeah, the angriest I've gotten is probably playing that game. Just so furious because I put so much time. There was one time where I looked up this YouTube video and it was like, if you want to get in, you know, you can like kind of get into the castle early. You got to dodge all these guardians and do this and make it pass on a horse. And I would like make it, you know, spend an hour just getting my way into the castle. And then I get murked by some guy that I didn't know that was there. Right. Dead. All gone. Yeah. It's all gone. You know, you don't like, you can save the game. And of course I would forget, but it's like, you have to do that again. It was.
I was mad like the first 48 hours because it came out the same time as Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
I remember this particularly because I got so mad at it. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to try Horizon. And then I was like, well, at least Horizon's fucking possible. At least I can play this game.
So
after I beat that, then I calmed down. I realized, let me just
do this.
Try to go to a different area. Maybe it's not as hard. And that's what I employed my wife. And we had this method of if we get, just overly frustrated, instead of throwing the controller like a child,
pass it on.
Pass it on.
Awesome.
It was a good relationship builder too. Because I always say the couples that play together stay together, right?
That's right, man.
For sure.
Yeah, that's right.
No, yeah, that's super fun being able to pass.
And another really cool thing about that is she had never played Zeldas really before that. And so then we started going backwards. And we started playing Zelda. We played Wind Waker, and then we played Twilight Princess. And it was really fun. It was really fun.
That's cool, man. Super cool.
Does she like horror movies?
She didn't when we got together, and she would still never watch one alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it used to be only October was like our Fright Fest month. That was the only time that she would let me watch scary movies. And basically she told me, if you don't try to scare me,
then we're good.
Right.
We were dating. The Mist, the movie The Mist came out.
Oh, I just watched that.
After we saw that,
ago, dude.
I did a prank that scared the shit out of her.
Oh, no.
She was like, never watching horror with me again. So she basically said, if you don't try to scare me, I'll watch anything with you. Now I can get her to watch scary movies as long as I prepare her. She doesn't have work the next day.
Yeah. She's like, she can
lose
time,
some sleep, maybe. But there is still some stuff where she's like I watched Barbarian, and I'm like, you wouldn't have made it through that movie. It would have been too much.
Oh, Barbarian was good. I watched that on your rec too.
Yeah.
So what was the prank?
So we were dating, and I had we had different apartments, obviously, and I had this apartment that you go into, you park in the garage, and you come up steps and into the living room area. Yeah. And I gave her the extra clicker so she could come in the garage, let herself in, and. I just thought it'd be funny. I was about to go to bed and she was running late, and I was like, just call in bed when you get here. And so I had turned off the lights and everything right as she was coming in. I was like, oh, watch this. I'm going to scare her. So we just went and saw The Mist, and it spooked her a little bit. So I'm hiding in my kitchen. It's dark. She thinks I'm asleep. She goes past the kitchen and goes and looks in the bedroom thinking I'm in there. And just over in the corner, I just go, something in the mist. And she goes, ah! And she rushes at me. And she's like about
like
to
ready
swing
to
at me.
swing,
I'm like,
dude,
oh, this is
yeah.
about to backfire on me.
Oh,
This became like
no.
this joke all the time of, hey, you want to watch
Uh,
The Mist? And she's like, no, fuck you.
No, I
Yeah,
do
fuck
not.
that.
Yeah.
She's
That's
like, you had
awesome,
that
dude.
one chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should play. Have you played the Dark Pictures anthology games like Until Dawn?
So
And
the reason why I was telling you this is so my girlfriend has never played video games ever. Never enjoyed them. She loves movies, this kind of stuff. There's a game. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but this
go for it.
draws right in here. So there's a game that Spencer showed me that's it's a horror. It's like a horror movie that you like you can play a little bit, you can walk around, but you basically make decisions for the characters, and there's like hundreds of different endings.
Yeah,
But they truly are scary. And so I sat down.
It's like really high budget
Yes,
too.
super high budget, super nice. They have like the facial recognition on true actors, like they're all actors that you know in these games and stuff. And so a new one came out like a couple weeks ago, and I downloaded it and I sat down with my girlfriend and was like, we're gonna try and play this. And she freaking loved it, dude. Like she was all in. It was fucking terrifying. Like so we played for like 2 hours. We haven't played it since. We've been busy, but like I'm so excited for you to get here so we can play it, dude. It's so fucking scary, dude. It's terrifying.
Especially the first one, Until Dawn.
Yeah, the first one's scary.
That has such a good story.
I want to say Until Dawn was one I had like back in my like PS3 days or something, and it was in my backlog, and I just never got to it.
It's still good. They've like remastered it.
Okay,
for, like,
yeah,
because
I was to say I thought it was newer than that, but if they remastered, that makes sense. But that was fun. I spent a lot of time at your place here in Washington playing that with you.
Yeah, and not on, I think not on the first couple games. On the first couple games, you kind of have to decide, okay, you get this character, I get this character, and you split up like 4 characters each. But especially later in the games, the game will do that for you automatically.
Yeah,
so it'll tell you your turn is over past the controller.
So this
and
new
she
one
can make decisions.
Yeah, this new one is even compounded on that exact thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just made it very like in the beginning, you can either choose your characters or randomize them, and they make it very clear that Gabriel should not be touching the controller right now. Leah has to. It's really cool.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're into scary, because it's not even just like jump scare, which there's a lot of it, but it's very psychologically scary.
Yeah. Okay. Did you play Forbidden West, Horizon Forbidden West?
I didn't finish it, and I have this rule where I have I have 3 hobbies: reading, TV, and video games.
Yeah.
I only have enough time for 2 of those at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Reading don't stop. That's always gonna be my primary thing. Since around like 2015 is about when I think that entertainment started going down the shitter.
Yeah.
It just where I was like, I reached that age where you just start thinking everything on TV's crap. You know, all movies are crap. You know, all this music sucks. I think I basically became like my parents at that point. And that was the age where I went from like, 10 books a year to like 50 books a year to what I have. It's ridiculous now. And I'm never going to remove that one, obviously, not just because of that, but because I run this channel as well. Yeah. So I kind of have to choose. Am I going to be playing games right now, or am I going to be watching
playing TV?
right now?
A lot of times
I'll do a thing
TV,
where
dude.
I will not play games for like 3 months and
that's
nonstop for 6 weeks.
Yes, that's me, dude. I do the same.
I go through phases with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I haven't finished it, but I mean, I was really enjoying what I was playing. I thought they fixed a lot of things that held the first one back, but I still think the first one was one of the best games of that generation.
Yeah, I'm excited to go through it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aloy's awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I mean, come on, you're fighting robot dinosaurs.
For real, man. It is cool.
Dude, the gameplay gets like so addicting because like you kind of fall into a comfortable rhythm, but also every situation is a little bit different. So like like what you need to do, but you can kind of freestyle a little bit on each different situation. And like there's some sort of like response, like mental response you get from highlighting the dinosaur, seeing the yellow thing, shooting it, and getting that armor plate off. And it's just like it gives you so much like satisfaction. It's a great gameplay loop.
Yeah, it's fun.
Have you guys seen the trailer for this movie called Cocaine Bear?
Oh yeah, I was hoping. I saw that last night, and I was so I
I
thought
saw
it was a
someone-
gag, dude. I thought it was a
Someone posted
joke.
it in the Discord, but I didn't watch the trailer.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Oh.
joke at first, and then I watched the trailer, and I was like, no, they're dumping money into this thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like they're dumping serious money into this thing.
Oh, yeah. It's worth watching the
Apparently,
trailer.
it's based on a true
wild.
story too. I looked it up.
Is it really?
Yes, it really
Whoa.
is. Really is. Yeah, not like wholly in part, but there
Sure.
was a bear that ate a bunch of cocaine that went crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's what it's about.
awesome.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what it's
these-
about, dude.
yeah.
That's the whole movie.
Yeah, there's like these families that go camping, but somehow this bear
So
just like
yeah.
gets his nose into this bag of
Well,
like
no,
a
he
brick.
eats it. He swallows it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he finds the cartel. Something happened. Blah blah blah. They had to drop some cocaine off, like pounds and pounds.
Yeah.
And this bear just eats all of this cocaine. All of it. It was like 10 pounds. And then like turns into this like mutinous monster bear that's killing everybody.
Yeah.
It's really fucking weird.
It looks awesome. I'm
Look,
gonna
he's
go
looking
see
it up
day
right
one.
now.
Yeah.
He's checking it
Yeah.
out. He's like, what the
I-
fuck is this?
No, I saw something posted on the Discord.
Yeah.
I just didn't click on it just because honestly, it's like I don't have time to watch something new.
Yeah,
Half the
no, I
time
get
I'll-
it.
If it isn't something like huge, I'm gonna want to talk about it. I just won't even watch the trailer because I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, for example, last week I watched like that entire Michael Jordan documentary, like 10 hours of it. And I'm just like,
Whoa.
I didn't have time for that shit.
Why did I do this? Why did I do this?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I try not to even like watch stuff that I think I might be
Yeah.
interested in for that reason.
For sure.
Yeah. Did you was it you that did a video on Dark? Did you watch
I
Dark?
talked about it, but I didn't do a
Yeah.
full video on it. But I did talk about it when I
Okay.
did my top science fiction shows ever. But yeah, Dark's
Yeah.
amazing.
Dark.
That's one of the
Oh,
tightest
man.
written shows I've ever seen.
I haven't
We've-
seen it yet.
We've
And I haven't
we've
started 1899 yet
Okay, I was gonna ask you
because I
about
know
that.
that'll take over my life and I'll completely
Yeah.
obsess over it. You know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Somehow we found a way to bring up Dark for every episode for the past like 6 or 7
Spencer's
episodes.
found a way. Not we.
I-
Spencer's found a way. I've
Yeah,
never
I
seen
just-
it.
Great.
I love that show so
I think that's
much.
probably the show that had my wife and I the most like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with like
Yes,
the board with all the
yeah.
string stuff since the early seasons of Lost. That was
Yeah.
probably the most obsessed we had ever been with a TV show
Mm.
with like trying to figure out mysteries, you know, knowing now that they didn't even know. But I
Yeah.
mean,
Right,
at the
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
time we believed they knew where they were going with it, you know. So we had all these theories. So, but yeah, Dark was the one where we were actually getting. My wife actually got out like 2 dry erase boards and was writing like
Oh, hell
theories
yeah,
of how they
wow.
connected and shit.
That's
I was like, oh my
awesome.
god, yeah, making my brain
Yeah.
hurt.
Kudos to your wife.
Yeah.
I tell people like when you start Dark, you need to have like a notepad at least.
Yeah, because
That's
And
why
just,
I
like,
don't
jot
start
three
it.
different
Yeah.
generations of the same characters and
Yeah.
different timelines. It's just like, oh man, it's so. It's like Blake Crouch levels of like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know if you read Recursion. Recursion was the book
Yeah.
with Blake Crouch. Where like, look, I understand what he's saying, but it's making my head hurt to think about it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, Gabe is reading those soon, and he was like, should I start with Dark Matter or Recursion? I'm like, start with Dark Matter because it'll break you into some of the ideas that he's going for in Recursion. They're not connected, but Dark Matter is like the stepping stone
Yeah, Dark
to
Matter's
Recursion.
amazing.
I felt
Amazing.
like, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's actually running that show. They're making an adaptation of Dark Matter. And when I talked to him, asked him basically
That's right.
flat out, I asked him like, how faithful is this going to be? And he's like, very faithful. I'm like, great,
Oh, yeah.
great
Awesome.
news.
Yeah, Dark.
He's writing the screenplay and he's the showrunner for it. So
Wow.
Okay, so it's a show, not a movie.
yeah, it's an Apple series, Apple TV series.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Good thing I
that-
have Apple TV.
See, I don't. There's so many things on Apple TV that I've wanted to watch that I'm like, I need to just get.
Well,
I just have all of them. I've got,
Yeah.
I've got
Have you
all the
watched-
streaming services.
Have you watched For All Mankind? Because if not, you need to do that at ASAP.
Oh yeah, you were raving about that one. You
For All
really like
Mankind
that
is
one.
incredible. If you like
Yeah.
character work, that's the guy that did Battlestar Galactica. So you know,
Oh,
and Deep Space Nine and Next Generation. This guy knows how to do characters as better than just about everyone else on TV.
Wow.
cool.
But For All Mankind's incredible
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that one. You're like, you said something like you didn't have high hopes at the beginning, but then the more you got into
I
it,
had
the
suspicions
more.
of things that I thought they were going to do, which was basically
Right.
just going to be allegory on things going on in the real world. And I was like, I don't
Right.
care about that. I want entertainment, damn it.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. I was very, very wrong. I was
Right.
extremely wrong. And I'm so happy to be wrong because
Mm.
Right.
that show, I ripped through all 3 of those seasons in a matter of days. It was so good.
Awesome. Awesome.
I love alt history stuff. So fun when they
Yeah.
play around with alternate history. It's just so fun for me. Things that you just are embedded into our brains is like for example, about how the 1980 Olympic hockey team beat Russia, and like on this they turned that on its head. It's like completely different. You're like, what? No, I can't accept that. But
Yeah.
it's just that new world.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Like John Lennon doesn't get assassinated, but someone else might have in his place and stuff. It's just so cool to play with, and they do all that kind of stuff in such a fun way.
Yeah. Do you did you watch Westworld at all?
Season 1, we loved it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love the story because it was written by Michael Crichton. He did write the movie screenplay of Westworld. Didn't write a book of it. Yeah, cool. Michael Crichton, and so that was his brainchild, which actually is what led to eventually becoming something you might have heard of called Jurassic Park. That was kind of the blueprint for Jurassic Park.
Wow.
So I watched season 1. I loved it. I was like, I think if Michael Crichton was still here, he would have probably been very proud of this. Then season 2 happened, and my wife and I fell asleep 3 straight episodes.
Oh no!
And I was like, maybe it's not us, maybe it's the show, and it just lost us in that second season.
Yes.
We never got into it again after that.
It doesn't get any better.
That's what I heard.
But it is kind of a bummer that they canceled the show now, or it got canceled, and then the showrunners had said, or the writers or whatever, they had said like we really needed a 5th season to like get it there, and we could have stopped it at the 5th season. And so to like, even though I wasn't enjoying the past couple seasons, like it sucks to know that they weren't able to get their vision like fully realized, and they were so close.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I do wish that, I know it's not fiscally possible to say, hey, we're going to give you 3 seasons, tell your story in 3 seasons. And that's when you get something like Dark. They knew they had 3 seasons, and they knew exactly what they were going to do,
Yeah.
So, it sucks. It sucks. It's a gamble sometimes. Like, for example, we just talked about Mike Flanagan Midnight Club. They didn't get a second season like they were planning. So he wrote a giant blog post telling him everything that was going to happen in season 2.
Oh, wow.
That's just so awesome that he did that for fans, because he did. It had a ton of cliffhangers. And so we got to read after we finished. We read everything that was going to happen.
That's cool.
Mike Flanagan's just awesome. He's one of us. He's just a big nerd.
What are some other shows that you feel have like really like wrapped up well, like a Dark or like a Breaking Bad? Or
damn, they put me on the spot there.
Yeah, that's a heavy question.
Sorry.
Man. That's a heavy
Sons of
question.
Anarchy did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother was obsessed with that.
Might have probably went on a season or two too long, but it did wrap up really, really good. Battlestar Galactica, I will always say I love the way that they ended that. I thought it was ended beautifully. I don't know, because it just seems like so many times where we're upset, things either don't end or they don't get the ending they deserve or didn't, or like How I Met Your Mother, amazing show, and the last episode completely ruined the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
So much so that they put an alternate ending on the DVD set.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just so hard to stick a landing because you can't please everyone. If it's too happy, people say it's too Disney. If it's too dark, they say, oh, well, I need a happier ending than that. If it's ambiguous, like, well, I need a resolution. So people are never going to be happy.
I feel like I feel like with TV shows like that, unless it's like a sitcom or something, like you really need to know where you want it to end up so that you can get it there in like a few seasons. Because I feel like a lot of shows kind of meander and they don't really know where they're going to fall at the end of it. And then they kind of make something up. Like I feel like How I Met Your Mother probably did that. That definitely went on like a couple seasons too long.
Yeah. Better Call Saul. That had a perfect ending. I thought that had a perfect ending. Yeah. So Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but everybody talks about that those shows. So
What about Mr. Robot? Have you seen that show?
I know how much you guys like that.
Yes.
I not because I wasn't enjoying or anything. It just kind of victim of the numbers game. I didn't get past like season 2.
Oh, okay.
I really liked the first season though. I watched the first season in like a day.
Yeah.
Binged the hell out of season 1. I loved it. But
I tell people season 2 is the hardest to get through. If you can get through it, then season 3 gets you back to what you liked about season 1. But God, yeah, that is like one of our favorite shows.
Yeah, there's some people on the Discord that are always drilling me. You got some extra time? You can stream the whole series of Mr. Robot.
That's right.
I know.
That's right. Yeah. What about you, Gabe? Any favorite TV shows?
Well, so I was just actually looking at some of the new ones. So I've told you about this. Have you ever watched Cabinet of Curiosities, Mike? They're like short
I
little stories.
wanted to because I know that Del Toro is such a Lovecraft fan, and he
Yeah.
didn't get to make his At the Mountains of Madness movie that he wanted. He didn't make that movie is because the studio mandated that he put a love story into it. And he's like, yeah, that ain't what I do. That ain't what
Yeah,
Lovecraft did. And so he
wow,
just chose to walk away. And I admire him as a filmmaker for
for
that, but I'm
sure.
sad we didn't get to see the movie. So I've heard that Cabinet of Curiosities is basically like getting out those Lovecraft demons that he
Yeah,
never gets back. So
definitely,
yeah,
exactly.
I watched the trailer actually for the first time last night, and it looks really
Nice.
cool. Plus, it's got
Yeah.
Ben Barnes, and I love Ben Barnes.
Yep. We've had a lot of fun with all. We've seen all of them now. I think there's 2 seasons out. I'm pretty sure something like that. But
It's Del Toro, so I know the monsters are going to just be amazing.
yeah. Oh, and they are. And some of the stories are just like wickedly different. They're like not something that you would think would happen, but it happens, and they're really good. Other than that, man, I don't watch a whole ton of TV, like
Yeah.
like a
It's
lot
just,
of
it's
like
just
newer
like what
stuff.
games it's bursts for me. I
Yeah,
won't do
exactly. I'm
anything,
the
and
same
boom.
way. I
But the
find
Yeah.
thing
something I
is
like.
like my wife gets so mad at me because we will start a series and not finish it, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm like, finish it yourself." She's like, "But we were watching it together."
Yeah.
Right.
I
Uh,
have the same issue. Yeah.
but then I'll also get into like another show. Like she wanted to finish Midnight Club, and then I got so wrapped up in uh, God, what's it called on HBO? Succession. I got so wrapped up in that,
Mm.
and For All Mankind, like back to back. And she was like, "What the hell? Why
Okay.
are we watch? Why are you watching this? Why
Yeah.
can't we watch the show I want to watch?" So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a bad watching partner like that.
I want to get into True Detective. I've heard that is a really really good
Only
show.
watched season one, but season one was terrific.
Okay.
But also,
Nice.
I love Woody. I think Woody's just a great actor.
Yeah.
I'll watch
Yeah,
anything
for
with
sure.
Woody in it.
I'll throw a curveball in here.
Hmm.
Do you guys remember the show Scrubs?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
oh,
Oh
God.
yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
talk about a show? We were talking about this the other day on Twitter with a couple of friends. You want to talk about a show that could not be made today?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Scrubs.
Oh
There's some
yeah.
stuff that I'll be watching like a rerun. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Get away with that today for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh man, what a fun show. Dr.
Dude.
Cox, legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Legend.
God. He is like a study in acting. Like that guy, the way he was able to like do his rants and just keep like such a straight demeanor during the whole thing without crack. Like I have no idea. There's no way I could do
Mm.
that.
Mm.
Like, oh my God, that show
I think
is
he's on the
phenomenal.
Rock level of like insults and
Yeah.
always hitting a home run with it.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, and they wrapped that series up really well. There was like 1 or 2 seasons in there that were kind of like, yeah, but
I know that they had some problems because of the writers' strike. That screwed a lot of those
yes.
shows, but I did hear
Yeah.
that they recovered quite well, as did Galactica. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the ending to that show is like in the list of like my favorite finales of all times, where he's looking at the sheet and you just see scenes from the future, like where he sees his life going. And oh man, it's such a beautiful scene.
And then he had like shows that are like my favorite of all time, and even the final season was good, but we just never really got a resolution. Like 24, one of my favorite shows of all time. And they even brought it back for that one special event, Live Another Day, and it was so good. It ended on a cliffhanger, and we never got to find out what happened.
Oh, really?
And I
That
bet you if they called
sucks.
Kiefer Sutherland today, he'd probably still do it. He'd probably still come back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what really sucks? Did you guys see the new series of Lethal Weapon? No. Okay. They had, I forget what the two actors who the two actors were.
Were they playing Riggs and Murtaugh?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd probably like it. It's the guy that played Riggs, he was fired, I think, after the third season because of some cancel thing. And so then they went on and tried to bring in who's the guy that's he's Stifler from American Pie. You know who I'm
Yeah.
you know who I'm talking
John William
about?
Scott? John William
Yes,
Scott?
yeah, they brought him in to play him, and it just wasn't the same. But the guy who was doing it before was like dead on, like he was so
Really?
good.
Huh.
And so it sucks to see characters get swapped out like that. How do you think the new Matt is going to do in the next Wheel of Time? You think?
Who knows with that show,
Yeah,
man? I
I
have no
know.
idea anything that
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm curious how they'd even write that, how they'd write that into the script, because I've heard rumors that they're going to try to make a narrative reason for it.
I think they should just ignore it, just pretend
Yeah,
like nothing changed. It's
right. And just keep going
like
forward.
if you draw attention to it, all you're doing is lighting up the room. Like, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
So, I can't wait for that guy's NDA to run down. He can tell us exactly what happened with all that.
I know. I'm so curious.
Our theory is that he refused to get the shot. That was our theory.
Oh yeah, that's a good theory. Yeah, because that was right around that time.
Yeah, but that's just a theory.
Yeah.
He might have just been like, the same for me. maybe he saw the dailies and said, "Oh my god."
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting pretty close to 3 hours here. Let's wrap it up with a couple final questions for Mike. Up to this point, what's been your most favorite video that you've done on your channel, or favorite, like whether it's an author you got to interview or something, like your highest point?
I'd say of my author interviews, Jay Kristoff surprisingly was my favorite. We talked for 2 hours and it went by like this.
Yeah.
He is just such the coolest guy. Regardless of how you feel about his books or whatever, that is the kind of guy you could just get a 24 pack with and just
Nice.
Oh yeah.
and never
Nice.
run out of things to talk about. Awesome, awesome guy. I love that conversation, and to the point that where we were already like, hey, May after the Empire of the Vampire 2 comes out, we got to find an excuse to do it again.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
He still occasionally emails me about this
Yeah.
metal band or something he wants to check out. He wants me to check out. Such an awesome dude that he finds the time to do stuff like that. As far as like a favorite video, man, I don't know. I feel like obviously King being my favorite author, just anything where I talk about Stephen King, I think you can tell the passion of it. It's just because it's something that's super important to me. But as far as like this particular video, I have no idea. I mean, there's been some that have been a lot of fun for me to make and a lot of fun to interact with people in, but I can't think of one single video where I'm like, yeah, that's my favorite one I've ever made.
Right.
No idea. Now I usually do those reading introductions, and some people love them, some people hate them, but people have heightened opinions about them either way. I can think of some of those people like, what would have been some of your favorite? I got Red Rising is probably one of my favorite ones I ever did. I thought that was just really just the perfect combination of the music and the words, because Pierce Brown, he can write a good one-liner, I think, and they just fit so well. Because Darrow in that series has like some speeches that'll make you want to run through a wall, man.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of a particular video.
Yeah, there are definitely some speeches in Red Rising where you just feel the like, let's
If
fucking
this was a movie,
go.
man, I'm
like,
up in this
yeah.
theater like shouting, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope that he gets back on track with doing those movies. Because he was going to for a while, right? I think.
Yeah, pretty much what he told me is when I met him at the book signing is he did say that pretty much he wants creative control, because they've said we need you to change this, this, and this. He's like, no, I'm not going to change that. And so he's just said that he's not going to do it until he gets to do it his way, or he's fine with it just never being made.
Good for him.
Yeah.
We'll say, he's standing his ground.
Right.
Because he
That's
did.
good.
He said, I was young and I sold the rights to the first person who offered me something.
Yeah.
And when they expired, I was so happy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, your book or your video intro things where you read a paragraph or two, I really love those. And you've mentioned before that you would love to be like an audiobook narrator.
Yeah, I guess that's the dream. I have two dream jobs. Like dream job would be like if I got hired by Spotify to have like a Joe Rogan style thing where I just talk to other, talk about books. Obviously that'd be like the dream job, I think.
Yeah.
But I would love to work for Audible. That would be really amazing, because I think that's something I could do really well. I wouldn't even mind paying my dues and like reading like some smut first if I had to.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think someone's going to pay me. I can't. It's funny because I can't listen to audiobooks, but I'd love to be an audiobook narrator.
Yeah. Well, I think you have like a really good voice for them. Have you thought about doing like more of like the self-published thing, like doing some narration?
I've had some authors actually reach out and ask me if I would do that kind of thing, but it's like I don't have a professional studio or anything like that.
Yeah, or the right equipment and stuff. Yeah,
it would just be more of a hassle, really. And I know that that's what I would need to do to kind of get my foot in the door, So it's just one of those things. It's like Look, guys, I went back to business school at 38 years old to get the career that I have now.
Yeah.
And that's why when people ask me, you ever think about doing YouTube full time? Like, no, that's not why I went back to school at this
Yeah.
age to,
Yeah.
to do that. No. So I'm happy with my actual real life career. I
Yeah.
am. And, they pay me, good benefits and pension
Yep.
and retirement and all that stuff.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Yeah.
YouTube can never offer me that. But,
Nope.
if Audible came calling, it would be really hard for me not to listen for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had like, if an author reached out who is okay with like your current video or audio quality, is that something you'd consider, or is it kind of?
Well, first it would depend. Is it as big as that book you held up earlier?
I hope not. Yeah.
Uh,
like 40 hours in the fucking thing.
Yeah, and then it's just going to be one of those things like, I
Yeah.
mean, I got a lot of real life responsibilities. I don't know
Yeah.
how fast I can do it for you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just kind of a situation where I'd have to kind of
Yeah.
see where real life is at the
Gotta
time.
feel it out.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be great. I'd love it. And you know what? Honestly, I would love to make book trailers. People talk about those intro things. That
Oh,
I do,
yeah.
but they should make. If they had that in like some bookstores, like people say, I would buy that book based off of that. And I'm like, I wonder
Yeah.
if there's a market for that, book trailers. you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, more people need to do them. A series that we're really into, King's Dark Tidings. They finally did a book trailer for the 5th book that just came out. And it was really good. Like, it's a really good way to get people like hyped about a book. And I even made one for like a friend's book, and I don't know, I think they do really well. They're really fun to make, and they're really, I don't know, just get you excited to read the story.
I think one of my favorite compliments I received was I did a why I decided to read Legend of Driss by R.A. Salvatore, and I did a nice little reading segment for that. And someone was like, "Dude, I don't even know what these books are about." But I wasn't even done listening to that, and I had already bought the first 3 trilogies.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
So,
Yeah. The one you did for, going back to Jay Kristoff, the one you did for Empire of the Vampire
Yeah.
was really, really good too.
Yeah, he even told me he liked that. So
Yeah. And
Awesome.
you convinced me to read Empire of the Vampire, because I was with you. I was like, what is this cover?
I reading this YA
Yeah,
teen
I'm like,
paranormal romance trash.
yeah.
Yeah. I judged the
And-
book by its cover there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you made a video and you were like, I promise you guys, I
Yeah.
promise you that's not what it is. And I was
Yeah.
like, good enough for me. And
Yeah,
man, I
awesome.
love that book. I
cool.
loved Empire of the Vampire.
Yeah, and I
Gabe,
even went and read Nevernight after that because I love the book, too.
It's like, it's on my TBR. It's up there.
I know,
It's
I
ready
know.
to be read.
I
Empire, yeah.
saw, did you start it recently? Because
I
popped
did.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
did. Yeah.
Yeah, he has some of the best insults I've ever read. His combinations on his swear words and stuff.
Oh,
is
they're
just
amazing.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious, yeah.
They're so incredible. So you ended up liking Nevernight though, right?
Yeah,
Did
yeah, I
you
did.
read all 3?
Huh?
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. I tried it. I read the first one. I thought it was okay. I keep meaning to read the second one, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. But certainly after reading Empire of the Vampire, I was like, I gotta go back at some point.
Yeah, I think he's an author. You're gonna know right away if he's for you or not,
Yeah.
because he does write very explicit sex scenes.
Yeah.
But unlike most male fantasy authors, he's really good at it.
Yeah.
And that was something I brought up in our interview. I was like, "How did you get so good at this?" And he's like, "Basically, my wife gave me like 3 stacks of like erotica novels, and I just, and I just read this.
Yep.
It's really funny. It's like a friend texted me during the middle. Hey, what are you doing? I was like, man, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But yeah,
That's
if you
awesome.
can tell, the guy did his homework, and I'm like, I'm reading those, and usually I'm like, oh god, another guy writing a sex scene. He just can't do it. I read
Yeah.
that, and I'm like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I know.
These are something else. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're not into that, yeah, you might struggle with some things, or
Yeah, it's
teenagers cussing really, really awesomely. You know?
it's so funny to watch some of the people who like there was some lady who did a whole YouTube video recently. It was like 45 minutes long. And it was like the problem with Jay Kristoff and his fan base. And I was like, this is like another level of crazy.
That's the type of video you will never see on my channel.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, like that. It hurts to read that title. Like, oh my God.
Broad generalizations always work out.
Oh, for sure,
Linking on a
right?
fandom as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It works really well for Rings of Power.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So to kind of wrap this all up, what is next for you, Mike? Do you have anything fun planned in the next month? We're getting into our last month of the year. Do you have anything
No,
cool?
I like to be a model of consistency. I like to try new things, but I like to kind of stay with what works. I listen to the audience, what they want me to kind of do. That's the whole reason when I do like my wrap ups, I'm completely transparent about like growth on the channel and stuff like that, because I like my audience to feel like they're a part of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I love to do that. But in the end, really just I just like to say I want to continue to be a positive place for everyone. I hear a lot of content creators out there like, well, if you believe this or this, I don't want you here anyway. I'm just like, if you like to read books, man, I want you here.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Definitely.
I mean, if you're out killing babies on the weekend, I just don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's your
Keep
business.
that to yourself.
Yeah.
But again, like if we don't agree on everything in real life, I don't care. If you want to talk about, hey, you're reading Terry Goodkind, and you want to talk about it, do it. That's the first book I read. How about that? But yeah, if you're reading anything and you just want to talk about it, man, that's what I want to be. I want to be that community for people, and just I think that there's just so much negativity out there.
Yeah.
I try to be a positive community.
Awesome.
Yeah. You have like a really great community, but also just like a really great philosophy. Like, hey, in the comments, like we can disagree. Like that's okay. Like,
well,
we
that's
don't
just
have
human
to...
interaction, man.
Yeah,
That's how life works.
Like, and
yeah, so someone's like, you're full of shit, blah blah blah. You believe this, and this.
Right.
And most people will be like, oh, I'm gonna either ignore that person, block them, or say something shitty back,
or delete it, like get rid of you.
I just say thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for the
They don't know what to do. They have no idea.
Yeah, that's right. You
Yeah.
just diffuse the whole situation.
I mean, they want you. They want you to say something negative.
Oh,
back.
of course, man. They're eager for that crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising how many content creators are out there that are just like, if you believe this thing, then unsubscribe from my channel. It's like, you're telling people to unsubscribe? Like, I literally stopped listening to like 3 podcasts because they were like, if you believe this, then get out of here. I was like,
weird.
You said so.
That's weird. Yeah, that's always been the number one thing they teach you in business school, guys, is stay on brand.
Yeah.
Stay on brand.
Yeah.
I am a channel about books. Guess what I'm going to talk about?
Books. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you, Mike. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for coming and doing this. This is like the highlight of my month. It's been so awesome to talk with you and get to share a space with you for a little bit. So
no, I had a great time. And anytime you guys want to chat, just let me know.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm free.
All right, guys. Well, we are going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for our 3rd Creators Corner episode. Be sure to check out Mike's channel if for some reason you haven't already. If you enjoy our content, you're undoubtedly going to like his way more. I'll have all his stuff linked in the description, as well as our Twitter and Discord if you'd like to join us there. And don't forget to fight the good fight of getting Gabe some fresh air and sunshine by hitting all those YouTube buttons down below. Our next episode will be something relating to the Dresden Files. I think next weekend we're going into Small Favor.
Yeah.
I think it's Small Favor.
Great book.
Next one.
Great book.
Yeah. And then our year-end wrap-up episode will be after that, where we rank our favorite books of the year, and we may all be in the same room for that one.
I think we will be
with Gabe, Chris, and myself. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. Again, thank you for watching, and until next time, Gabe's gonna keep looking for a way out of my basement. I had to take his plastic spoon away. He was getting too close to digging himself out. So I gotta get my popcorn ready for that.
But he doesn't know is that I have other tools. He doesn't realize this, so.
I'll find him.
Yeah. Shouldn't have said that.
Right. Yeah. All right, goodbye, everybody.